Nobodies.
Yeah, I won't be able to taste the $4 difference, to be honest, though.
But I do like Lindsay better than El Jimador.
I honestly, like, since I just take shots, I don't, like, really sip, like, cocktails. I can't ever really tell the difference between... I have a peasant's palate, though. So.
Yeah, well, being able to have a bottle of tequila at the house is definitely only for royalty back in the day when they were peasants. They couldn't have.
They had...
Actually, I probably have no idea.
Like, what's the mead?
Yeah, mead.
They
didn't have something nice like tequila.
Yeah.
Do you think that they had tequila before they found in Mexico?
I mean, it's from the agave, like, nectar, so I feel like they would have to find a cactus first.
Right. So if they didn't have cactus, but maybe the natives.
Like,
but what if like the natives, like who roamed the Mexican mountains before the Mexicans? Like, was Aztecs up that? Were they that far north? I don't even know.
I don't think so, because I think they just like hit South America.
Yeah.
But I say that based on really not a lot.
I love when I'm just guessing like random information. I'm like, oh, it must be this. And I'm like, I'm saying this as somebody who has not studied anything about this culture.
Yeah, just see bylines or like horsey shit. I'm like, oh, I know that the mines were there. There's a fucking temple.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I gave you the dick glass on purpose. Tequila again.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It actually feels a little strange drinking on the podcast because I haven't done, I mean, like the first 10 that I did, it was straight shots, it felt like.
Yeah. No, that was like, I feel like the mission was just
the most debaucherous. You know how they say, well, I don't know if you know, you probably don't research podcasts as much as me, but a lot of people say like, oh, you know, you hardly ever stick with, if you stick with it at all, you probably don't stick with the same thing. Like there's probably going to be a pivot point and you should follow where it leads, not have like a hard line around it.
Not just make the mission this like inflexible thing.
Yeah. And so I feel like for Nobodies, the mission originally was get blackout. And then I was like, I think we should pivot.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if that's a good idea.
It's a good time, but is it watchable? Sometimes.
No. I probably will still do that sometimes. I mean,
yeah.
We'll see how the day goes.
Right? I want to, geez, it's only the second day we're drinking. So.
I know. We drank yesterday and you worked and I worked. And so both of us drank at work. And at least for me, everybody was super, not everybody, but a lot of people are like, whoa, watch yourself there, little man. Little man. You're like, ooh, Rumpleman's first one, bold choice.
Yeah, that is a bold choice for like a shot anytime. Rumpleman's is disgusting.
I love Rumpleman's.
I know you do.
It's so good.
I'll shoot it, but
you think it's disgusting when you're like doing it?
Yeah, I don't like it's the first thing that I got really drunk on was cream de menthe, and so it just has like that horror like taste, you know?
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, dude. I got so drunk the first time. It's like just driving around in a car, and we went to this basketball game, and I threw up in there was 3 bathroom stalls, threw up in every single stall, threw up in 2 different trash cans, threw up in every sink, threw up in like the different corners of the fucking bathroom, and then I like just like looked in the mirror, and I was just like covered like lime green vomit, and I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I lived pretty close to the school, so I just like walked my happy ass home, and then just immediately went to bed.
Do you remember that?
And I liked the janitor too. I felt so bad for weeks. I was like, damn it.
Do you remembered it though?
Yeah. I remember like sitting there and like watching the basketball go back and forth and being like, I'm fucked up. I don't think that I blacked out because number one, that's like all sugar.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much just like what, 10 proof? I don't know. It's
they're not, because Rumpleman's 50 proof. No, 50%.
Yeah.
100 proof. But I think creme de menthe is like 12% or something.
Yeah.
Most liquors are.
Gross. It was like green ectoplasm everywhere.
I've never like had throw up all over me, but the first time I ever blacked out, I was in San Diego. Did I ever tell you this?
I don't think so.
I was like there for a while in San Diego. I black out a lot, and I had like never experienced it. Fuck, I need my like band. I say like so much. I'll probably say it way more when I'm drinking. Fuck. I am trying to work on not saying goddamn leg. I should say
you could you could just use another one. You have another thing.
I have more. Yeah, I only ever really think about it when I do the podcast, and then I'll have it all the other times, but I never use it. I always forget. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So we were at some park in San Diego, and the park, it was just like a day and like a Saturday, and we were all drinking and we are just playing beer pong games and stuff and drinking beers. It's not like we were getting super rowdy. We weren't drinking liquor or anything, but I remember going to Lisa, and Lisa is like my good friend, and then she was living with this girl Denise and Angela, I think, or somebody at the time. Doesn't really matter. But I was really wasted and I was super into Denise, and this was like when I didn't talk to girls hardly ever. And I got really drunk, apparently. Don't remember. I don't really remember being at the house other than getting there. And I wake up and I'm at my apartment, and I'd never blacked out before in my life. And I just thought, holy shit, how did I get here? And I'm laying there and I move my hand up under my pillow, and it just squishes into this pile of like goop. And I was like, and I like look up, and it's just this huge pile of throw up like right by my.
Did it suck through your mattress?
I don't remember actually, but then I looked down and it was also on the floor, so it was like half there and half on the floor.
Slide off.
Oh my god! And then so I texted my friend Anna and was asked her how I got home and stuff. I was I've never had this happen before, but I don't remember even getting like barely there at all. And she's like, oh my god, you were like hugging Denise and not letting her go anywhere. And I was like this. And I was like, ew, that's bad. And then I was thinking, how did I get so drunk? I only had beers. She's like, what? No, you didn't.
Yeah,
you
that's like
had like 5 shots as soon as you got there. And I was like, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like, I only had 3 drinks. I'm like, that you remember.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And once you start blacking out, it's way easier to do it again. Like when I was like super heavy drinker, I would black out like almost every single time that I drank, but I would drink like considerably less like the next time around. Sometimes.
That you remember.
Yeah.
Were you ever trying to get blackout, or
our motto was blackout before you pass out?
That's what you always say.
But the eventuality of it.
Do you feel that you got some sort of what did you get out of a blackout? Just the idea of, oh yeah, we blacked out last night. And,
I think it was partly habitual, and then just like, oh, we're just going to get really, really fucked up, you know? It wasn't like, oh, we're going to have a nice time and enjoy these drinks. We're like, we're getting fucking annihilated, you know? I have woken up in so many bar bathrooms in downtown Boise. Like, that was like when I was like dating Bennett, everyone. I would like wake up my head against like the bathroom stall and I'd be like, oh my God. Like, I wonder if it's last call. I wonder where my friends are at. Like,
I've also fallen asleep in a couple bathrooms, to be fair. But I am sleepy drunk.
Yeah, I get every once in a while lately too. I just hit this wall where I'm like, I can't function. We were in Vegas. I guess that was like a year ago.
Oh yeah,
but I was like, I was just hanging out. And I like literally had to prop my eyelids open because I was like, what the fuck is happening? I'm like,
it took you home.
Yeah.
What was it? Savera was saying. Also, when she came in that other time, because you had drank on the plane. And
and he just
yacked out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You are puke and rally clean though.
Not that night though. That night I went to bed.
Oh.
You guys stayed up.
Dude, the first time I met you, you were puke and rally queen.
Yeah.
I actually you and Ivy, I know for that. I'm trying to think of anybody else. But Ivy can just
gotta get the evilness out.
Yeah.
Drink some water and then you're good to go.
I am not that. Dude, if I'm puking, I am done. Yeah. Well, I don't puke anymore though. Like I used to. I don't really.
I hate being nauseous. Like I feel like a lot of people will just like live through it and be like, I hate throwing up, and I'm like, so you'd just rather be in the fetal position, but like dry, like heaving and shaking forever.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Drink some water, go yak it out.
That's a good idea is chugging the water because sometimes that makes you have to more.
I'll just like chug really cold water and then I'll cough if I'm really hungover or used to. I don't get that. Like,
what about when you're not hungover but still drunk? You know.
Usually that's just like.
Can you still throw up just the same way?
I don't know if I've just tried the coughing method. I think that if I'm throwing up at night, it's because I need to, and so it's not like I'm like, oh, I just need to get it all out, you know.
Do you remember? You can tell me if I tell too many embarrassing stories. But when you were like you were sitting on the edge of my bed in the garage, and you were just like, I was like, go to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, no, I'm good. And then just dude,
I like because it's like when you're like very still. Sometimes you're like, okay, I can talk the nausea down.
I was like, I think you should go to the bathroom. You're like, no, I'm good.
I couldn't move at that point. If I had stood up, I mean, it didn't really matter either way, apparently. But
dude, and
I have like projectile vomited before out of nowhere, where I'm just like, kitty.
What?
People make me do that.
Kitty?
Like ketamine.
Oh, ketamine. I thought you were throwing up at a kitty.
Oh yeah.
When you were then when I brought you the bowl and you would throw up in the bowl and then you were just like, what is it? Was just spit. Like you didn't really throw up, it was just like some spit, but then you were just slinging it around. You're like, what is this? And I'm like, why are you throwing it back?
I don't remember that.
That was the night.
Sounds like me, but I don't remember that.
It was funny because I felt like you were being you had this like mischievous thing that you don't normally do, which is very strange. And you were like, it felt like you were a toddler where I would be like, don't do that. And so you'd be like, oh. And you're like, you took my shoe and just threw it against the wall. And I was like, Cinda, we're not throwing shit around my bedroom right now. And you're just like, and then you like pick it up. I was like, don't. Like I was like, what is it? Yeah, then I was like, what is happening right now? I feel like I'm scolding a child. I was like, if you do it one more time. I was like, what is going on?
What was that after?
It was just like it was after the come up. We had been drinking and doing some Molly, but it was like
because I remember throwing up on it, like
it was like kind of that period of time. It was like within that half hour or so, and you're just like thought it was super funny to start being like ridiculous. And I
bet it was.
And then I felt to myself, the more I tell her not to do something, the more she's gonna try to do it because she thinks it's funny. And I'm like, this isn't. What is happening?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good night.
Yeah.
I am impressed though with your ability to, if you can rally.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Gotta maintenance really instead of taking you out.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could because there's just some times where if you would have throw up the last 4 shots, you would have still got to experience them, but then
you wouldn't be quite as hungover.
Yeah. Maybe. How are those nails for opening up the?
Pretty hard. I remember when I had nails the last time. They got like we're looking out. They were a lot longer than they usually get. And it's like, how do you? These bitches with these stiletto like fucking like nails. How do they wipe their ass and masturbate? It was like that's a real.
Can't you masturbate just like with the fingers on the outside?
Well, that depends on if you like want clit stay or G spot.
Yeah, you got to use the dildo for G spot.
I don't use toys on myself. Toys are for friends.
Is that like a hard rule? Oh man, I got these little burps.
No, just long existing practice.
Oh. Yeah, I knew this girl once that said she never jerked off. And we both know her, but she said that she's like, well, I might as well just have sex. But I'm like, yeah, but you don't always have somebody in your house at any moment.
And it's
different.
Then
also, for me personally, I'm like, you need, like as a girl, well, probably as a guy too, but you need to know what you like and how to get yourself there. And if you can't get yourself there, how do you expect anybody else to get you there? Which was kind of the issue. I was like, dude, I mean, I'm doing my best here. And I normally pride myself in making a girl come. Yeah. But I was just like, dude, you are a tricky one. There's a lot of levers and fucking canvas to push.
You should get the orgasm shot. It's for like, originally it was created for people with incontinence.
What's incontinence?
It's like when you like after a lot of women have like their babies, for instance, they'll laugh really hard and they'll pee a little bit, or like so it's like it's loss of bladder control. And so but
I thought it was like when they in the cotton era when they were picking a lot of cotton, it was like incontinence.
Yep.
I thought that would come out funnier.
That was funny. But yeah, they put like a couple shots in your like G spot, one in your like clit, and then it makes your nerve ending super like responsive again, and so you're more likely to be able to tighten up and like not pee yourself.
Yeah.
But also orgasms are easier and I guess way more intense.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have that issue, but I'm like, there is no ceiling to like better. And so I'm like, should I get the orgasm shot?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably worth a shot.
Mm.
I'm unsure though, because here's the thing. I think that for some people, too intense holds them back from an orgasm.
Yeah.
Because like I knew some guys who didn't like head because they were not circumcised, and so then it was like really intense, and it was almost like on the verge of painful, and then they couldn't get there because it was just it's like overstimulation, and then they couldn't get in there. And I feel like I've been with girls that if I play with their clit too much while I'm fucking them, like that it's too much and they can't get there. But if I don't, they do.
Yeah.
But then other people do the opposite. So I don't know.
Girls are usually like one or the other. Like they'll get off on one main way, like probably maybe both. But
yeah, I do think it's funny when I think that people think I've done this too though. I feel like, oh, because I like this thing, all guys likes it this way. And I swear there's been so many girls recently, they're like, I can just tell you that no girl likes da da da.
Yeah.
And fill in the blank. Oh, look, I did it. Yeah. Da 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 da. But it could be sexual, but it could just be like a behavioral pattern. Yeah. But like I saw something on Facebook and this girl was like, no girl is after guys with money. She likes human connection. I was like, maybe she likes both, because it's pretty known that there are plenty of girls that do want money.
Yeah.
It's not a rare thing that like society's making up as a whole. That's like to trick us.
Like every girl would like da da da. Or like no guy likes these fake lashes or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've seen so many guys post that. Like, no guy cares about fake lashes or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's not true at all. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that some girls do things more for other girls, or like but I also think the guys do things for other guys.
Aesthetic status.
The guys flexing doesn't really work for girls. Most of the flexing that's done, it's more to like show yourself that you're better than the other guys in the room, and you're just like, oh, what's up, Mr. Guy over there? You make 150. Well, look at my F-150 and I think
that it's like because it's like the hunter-gatherer like roles and like providers, like, oh, look at all the stuff I have, or look how well I'm doing. Look at my like tokens of achievement.
Yeah.
Versus women being like, oh, I can be a good wife and bear your children, and so it's like, oh, look at how pretty I am. You'd love to fuck me and take care of me,
Yeah. That is true. I do think that was going back earlier to what we were talking about when we were at lunch, when people that hate on somebody who like flaunts their body or whatever, they're like, well, I don't think she needs to dress like that. And in general, from evolution, it's like you're showing off the traits that you have best to showcase yourself as a suitable
even like the smoky eyes are to mimic like when you're in a passionate, like when you have like that, like corny haze type of look, and the flush lips and like cheek, like blush. That's all to mimic arousal. And like a lot of times
I had heard the blush thing. I didn't know the smoky eye thing.
Yeah.
And then also leaning like tits forward. That's like fertility.
Yeah, and tips and like
and then like hips and ass is. I mean, it's just like
and this like the youthful appearance, like youthful, like guys are lucky in that they get distinguished and like more daddy style, and then girls just get older.
Well, here's the thing. I think that I would push back on that a little bit because we're lucky later in life. You're lucky earlier in life. So we both have our period of luck.
Yeah.
Or the periods of life that I feel like it's more beneficial to be a girl and then more beneficial to be a guy.
When do you think it's more beneficial to be a girl? Just like in the dating pool or in life?
Yeah, I'm talking strictly dating.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really, like being old sucks for both parties if it's not dating pool. Like it's just the inevitability of getting old. But as far as dating pool, girls have way more access early on, and guys, I think they can swing both ways. But the guys that swing like to like more successful, more established, they have like way more options.
Confidence too, and they've like
And then if they go the opposite way though, then it's like bad because you're like, oh, you're old and you're desperate and nobody likes you, and you're poor. Then they're just like really sad old men. They're like, fuck.
No, I'm an incel.
Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah, that does sound like not the life.
I did it is funny to talk to girls about just if they're not having sex. They're like, well, yeah, I could. I'm like, yeah, it's funny that you are not having sex because you choose to. And most of the times that I've ever been in a non-sex period of my life, it's never been from choice.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could have gotten laid from somebody though. And like that's like when like girls can get laid super easy, but is it by anybody?
Yeah, even if
want to have sex with, and is it going to be like?
I feel like it's still somewhat like you can still get an attractive person even if you didn't want to.
Yeah, I think that depends on the girl, but
yeah, I don't know. Guys are really easy.
Yeah,
I mean, every guy I know is really easy. I think I'm the rarity. No,
I like there are some guys that are like more not like prudish, but more traditional and just like don't share their bodies very freely.
Yeah, I do think that there are some guys that are. I guess I consider it more feminine, but it's like they decide that they don't want to. They're like, oh, I can't sleep with a girl until I know them or I have feelings for them or whatever.
Yeah, I actually know a lot of guys like that.
Yeah, or I've heard of a lot of guys like that. Mm-hmm. That's not me at all.
I guess I don't have to like get an entire backstory or like have built a relationship to fuck somebody, but I do have to know that I respect them. And like I just like
unless you're gonna fuck them like you don't respect them.
Yeah. That's really girls.
Not all girls. To clarify.
Yeah, no, I respect it 99% of the women that I sleep with. Well, the ones I don't, pretty hot. So.
Oh my god. That time.
Yeah, that was fucking hilarious. He was like, what are you gonna learn today? The people, there was this one time when I was seeing somebody else and we were sleeping with this girl and I was like, I don't really know if I respect her. I don't know if I want to sleep with her. He's like, do you want to fuck her like a dumb bitch you don't respect? I was like, yes, I do.
Now it's hot.
Yeah.
So we've had that. Dude, that's so good. I will always applaud that move.
Yeah.
Homie.
She's like, I was really not to you. I'm kind of a pillow princess.
Dude, if
he
ever
like, stabbed me on her face and he was like, well, you're going to learn today. I'm like, this is
You're going to learn today. Dude, I think it's unlikely, but it'd be so dope if he heard this section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that. No, I was also thinking of that time we were hooking up with that girl, and we had already had these conversations about we don't like to fuck girls that we don't respect in general.
Yeah,
but then we talked about that situation where like, unless you fuck her like a dumb bitch you don't respect, and then it's hot again, and then we were we were so fucked up in the middle of fucking this girl, and you're just like, I like fucking dumb bitches.
I didn't say literally thought of something. I forget. This is a long time ago, but I did do that. Like in the middle of just like,
it wasn't those words. For
yeah,
sure,
in the beginning of just like eating this girl out. I was like, because I was thinking, I'm like, you know what, this was like pretty smart, and then I'm like, but I don't necessarily need somebody to be like a fucking genius to be fun. Like I think that people like lose. Like that intelligence is something to be cherished, of course, and like respected. But also, so is bubbly and just like upbeat. You know, if we're just like,
yeah, I also think
I'm like, if we're having a good time, it'd be a good time. But she just saw. She was like, "Wait, do you think I'm stupid?" And I was like, "No."
It was also so funny because first off, I was like, "Shh, don't say that." And second off, I was like, why are you saying anything at all? Like, shut up and eat her out. Like, it was funny because it was just, you know, a cocaine bender, and we were obviously all sorts of just all over the map.
Yeah.
But it's just funny. You're like going down. You're like, also, I love fucking dumb bitches. And she's like, wait.
So bad.
It didn't. Yeah, you didn't say that exactly, but it did kind of come across. Where I was like,
huh.
That's pretty funny.
So we watched that mushroom documentary.
Yeah. Yeah, that came right off the end. Oh, so speaking of watch that be my first clip. I do think it's that gave me, or the conversation I don't think I've ever talked about on here, but is for some reason we value certain things that are innate in somebody, but then not others. Like if somebody's gifted beauty, well, yeah. In society we value them, yeah. But then there's this huge section of there's this huge section, I swear, of maybe it's more like incel guys behavior, but they shit on a girl because she's gifted.
Yeah,
looks.
But then
so they're like, oh, you've been gifted looks. Well, that's not nearly as important as if you were smart. But a lot of people are gifted smarts.
Yeah, and it's just stupid to think that just because someone is like beautiful that they're not like multifaceted. And like have layers.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to or that leads into like there's multiple levels of smart. I mean, most people understand there's book smart and there's street smart, but there's way more. There's the spatial intelligence. Yeah.
I'm a little dumb when it comes to spatial intelligence. Yeah. I'm not into everything. I'm lost all the fucking time unless I'm out in the woods. I don't do well with directions.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I feel like I'm pretty spatially aware. But then there's emotional intelligence. Like there's a lot of like guys I know that just have no idea how to read the room with their girl or if she's upset or how to that kind of stuff, and that emotional intelligence is a huge thing in relationship. That if you're really dumb with emotional intelligence, it can be a detriment to a relationship because you're like, dude, you need to catch on.
Yeah, you have to have good like verbal communication then if you're just like someone that just like doesn't get social cues, or like if you're like people on the spectrum, they tend to have a hard time at like interpreting people's facial expressions, like especially in young children. You'll be like, I have to be like, I am angry. This is.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that was crazy.
It like goes boop and it like hits my eye. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, and so what's the one? I feel. I mean, Rob is the one who kind of talked about this.
There's like 7 different kinds, and I forget all the ones, but
yeah, because the thing that I guess he would say, and which I think I agree with. He's like book smart / like surface level intelligence, or what would seem to be intelligence. Yeah. When you first come across somebody who's like, oh, are they able to keep up with all these things, or do they not know where fucking New England is on a map? Like, you dumb hoe. Yeah. Sometimes those kind of people are like the kindest, most compassionate people. And actually most times I've noticed. So like the dumber, like some dumb bitch who like seems like everybody's like, dude, that's the dumb bitch. It's like she's the one.
But she's like
they end up being the kindest person of everybody.
They're like holding space.
Yeah, they would never talk
like, the
shit.
Energy moving and like taking a lot of responsibility to like for the vibe and the energy in the room.
And then I feel like that. I've definitely been the guy who's like, dude, that girl's dumb. But looking back, or just like looking at the grander perspective, I do feel, I'm like, dude, yeah, but you're a dick. You might be smart, or you think you're smart, and you're probably not anyway. But you're the asshole who's just been talking shit about other people for the last half hour, like, and this person's the most kind person ever.
And if it's the only thing that you hang your hat on is your intelligence, then I feel like you have to prove it all the time. So you can never be wrong. You can never let that, like, the chance, you don't give yourself the chance to be taught, because you have to sit in your seat of knowing it all, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
also, if you're bragging, or if you feel that your worth came from how smart you are, but it was still a gift to you, like as a human.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that if you worked really hard to get smart, you know, like you've been studying for 20 years and you read a lot, whatever. I'm like, I can kind of understand hanging your hat on that a little more, because you're like, oh yeah, I put in a lot of work.
Yeah,
well,
that's about your tenacity, your work ethic. It's about so much more than just your
natural intelligence
to make A and B to C.
Yeah, but if you just think you're better than everybody because you are gifted smarts, and as other people aren't, like, that sucks.
Yeah.
And you're probably a dick.
Yeah, you probably just, and you don't see other people's intrinsic value then. A lot of times intelligence is just like where people want to be the best in the class. And so they want to, those are like very money driven people or pedestal people. They're the ones that are just like, those are also the guys that are like, oh, it must be nice because you're hot. I had a roommate that was like, must be nice to be good looking or something like that. Just like pretty dismissive. I was like, just so you know, I got out of a terrible relationship recently. My mother just died. I've been incarcerated. Like, yeah, glad I'm hot.
Yeah, it's working out real well.
Yeah, totally. Everything's super fucking easy. Whatever.
Yeah. I also think that, should you know the halfie?
Yeah.
I think that I do agree that there are some things that become easier with good looks, but that doesn't make everything easier. And also, it's like how do I want to phrase this? Like, there's that guy who is like, male privilege doesn't exist, prove me wrong. I don't know if you've ever seen this on the internet. But like, there are like, I guess it's probably more right-wing dudes, but people who are like, oh no, this doesn't exist. This is just idea
some left fucking bullshit to bring us cis men down.
Which obviously there can be like those pendulum swings where it gets too ridiculous, you know?
Yeah.
But one of the things that I've always felt was like, okay, so, well, if we are both walking in a dark alley in a shitty area of town, we both have fear. But I was like, yeah, but the male for 99% of the time has fear of being assaulted and robbed. A female has those two as well, plus raped.
Yeah. And
like a male, for the most part, will never have to experience that thing. So that's just a really easy example of why we have this one privilege. And the same with like there was like an pushback over like the black and white poor culture. It's like, well, like, why should I feel bad for you guys? Like, I'm in this poor white family in fucking North Carolina or like South or West Virginia or whatever, like these really poor areas. Like, yeah, for sure, I get it. Like, you have it bad too. But like,
when you're talking about you're not just talking about one city though, and so you're talking about the entire like.
And being that poor as you are and black is still worse in those like situations.
Yeah, that's just like, the disparity is still like in that county. Yeah. I bet there's still like way more people of color being incarcerated than
and it's not like everywhere. It's just there are these things that are worse. But then what I am pointing out though is that you then if you I think I lost my train of thought. Basically you still have like bad things. So like a hot girl still has a rough thing. Like you still get benefits to being attractive, but then it also comes with disadvantages that ugly people don't have.
Yeah.
And that I was thinking about it with the whole, when I was talking to Lewis about photography and stuff, and people back in the day would be like, oh, you guys have it so much easier. You can use Photoshop in 2 clicks and make it this way. We had to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? So we have an easier process. But because we have an easier process, that opens the door up for way more less barrier of entry, which means there's way more competition.
That's how music has been.
So the more easy it is for me to create the thing, the more competition there is. So I have a harder time to separate myself from everybody, because back in the day, yes, it was harder to learn a thing, but if you did that, you were only one of a few. Now you're one of, there's everybody can do it. And the same is like, hot girls get some perks, but like they have disadvantages as well.
Yeah, and there's just like so many good looking people. There's just so many people. And if like I like that I'm not ugly.
Me too.
But
we would not be here.
But also I until recently I didn't take care, do a lot of self-care with my skin or my going to the gym, anything like that. I've just been really blessed that way, and these are the things that I'm like very thankful about. I'm
Asian no raisin.
Yeah, Asian no raisin. But I people should be proud of their characters and not their
How do you say Asian don't raisin in Korean?
Let's ask Google Translate.
I love that one time when I was talking about going to Japan and you're like, I don't want them to know that I can't speak Korean. I'm like, they don't know because they're Japanese.
Yeah, being around dense Asian populations, it's because I don't really think about me being like, up until like maybe 4 years ago, I would get surprised when I'd look in the mirror and be like, oh shit, this is what you look like. I mean, like, I don't know, like, not like shock, but surprised. And so like I didn't know that I was Asian until till I was in kindergarten, I think. I had to figure that out. And so being around a bunch of the same, I'm like, holy shit.
Did I ever tell you that when I was in probably elementary school, I remember there was like these kids that were in this youth group in this one church I went to, and there's this Asian kid that was like, he looked popular, and everyone was like around him, and he was laughing, and I was like, dude, I wish I was Asian.
I used to cry myself to sleep when I was in 4th grade, just be like, I wish I was white. Like, it would make more sense. My fucking banker's white, my teacher's white, my mom's white, my dad's white, all my friends are white. And I was I lived in a small little hick town, and so I feel like all the little blonde worm girls got notes from boys, and I was just this chubby Asian that was cool and developed a personality.
I can't imagine you being chubby. That's funny. Yeah. Do you remember that other Asian chick that looks like you but is chubby?
Yeah.
You mean all the chubby ones?
Dude, that was so funny. This guy came up to me, and I was at Karma, and he's like, hey, do you still have my shares? I think he knows Jerry. And I was I'm like, I don't know who the fuck you are. He's like, Sarah. And I was like, Cinda? And he's like, Sarah. And I was like, who is Sarah? And so he's like, oh my God, you're not her. And so I asked him to pull up her Facebook, and I'd be like, I'm going to see how racist you are right now. But man, she does look a lot like me. We are the most similar.
Yeah. Cheers. I might have to pee after this. We'll see. See how it hits me. Hell yeah. Number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We missed you, Liquor.
Mm-hmm. I do. It's crazy because I wouldn't traditionally categorize tequila as a tasty treat. Like, it's not
savory or sweet.
Yeah, it actually, I feel like does it fit at all in any of the 5 taste profiles? You have sweet, sour, salty,
umami,
and there's one other one. Is it sour, sweet, salty, spicy?
Spicy, okay.
It's not umami, right? Or maybe it is.
No, because umami is it's like mud coffee.
Yeah, but it's not just mud coffee. There's quite a few things that are umami that have different profiles. I
told you that if I don't want to spend meat, or mix, but I told you once that if I was going to DJ that I want my name to be umami because I'm like, ooh, it's savory, and you're like, that's a terrible.
I told you it was terrible.
Yeah, I think you shot it down because you're like, that's you want your name to say oh, it tastes like Dirt.
But it also does fit you. You like dirt.
I do love dirt.
And you used to make girls at school eat dirt.
Yeah, don't make fun of my friends. They're gonna eat sand, bitches.
Yeah.
Then everybody, I told that story to the bar once, dude. We have this. I work at the Little Dutch Garden. We have this doorway.
Shout out LDG.
Shout out LDG. We have this doorway that everybody like takes rice or hide in. And Scott is so fucking tall that he has to be on the outside of the door frame. I mean, it is like a shorter door, but like, I think he's like 6'9". He's tall as fuck.
You should show Scott this podcast.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, I want to meet him.
Yeah, cool. I think you guys get along. He's like, just shoots the shit. He's super clever, and he has like, he's like very self-aware and has good comments and observations on.
I like clever. I like clever people.
Yeah.
There's do you ever know, I guess I don't feel this pressure as much anymore. I guess maybe I do now when I'm doing the podcast. Like I'll be like certain podcasts will be like, man, I haven't said anything funny in like 20 minutes. Well, I don't have like a time, but there are these times I have in my head. I'm like, dude, you haven't said anything funny. You haven't had like a laugh out loud moment.
Punch, yeah.
And I'm like, you put this podcast under a comedy. It's got to be funny. Mm-hmm. But I do like going with the flow. But when I was in college, like my MO was try to be like funny guy all the time. Mm-hmm. And I found a lot of, I guess I got my value or like my sense of worth out of doing that.
Yeah, public validation.
Yeah, and then so if I wasn't doing that, I would get like super in my head, like what's wrong with me right now? I'm like not
like on. Yeah. So I feel like that a lot of times, like even now, I'm like now I just like leave it as an awkward, anxious, stupid fuck sometimes. I like hate it. Anxiety. Dude, I didn't know what anxiety really was. I don't know if I was just too drunk to realize it, or like
maybe that's what sober was being. Is it's just
yeah. I mean, it
like,
wasn't
is this anxiety or is this just being sober?
Yeah, it wasn't like the 75 days. I've been like experiencing adult anxiety for quite a long time. And I do understand that. Like, I'm like, all right, so well, most of the time, I don't know, whatever. That's never mind. We're not going to unpack all that, but
we could. We don't have to.
What were we talking about before that? So adult anxiety. I feel it now. It's a
yeah. Fuck. Where were we right before that? When you're trying to be like always on. Or, like,
yeah. I feel like especially when I'm like at something that's like a dancing function, and every once in a while I'm like really just want to sit down and just like watch people, but then I feel like I need to like be me, and then I'm like, is this how I dance? What's going on?
Oh yeah, you're like thinking about your
I'm like I don't ever have to think about what I'm doing, you know. And
my god,
that's like the blissful time is like dancing, because I'm like, oh look, your brain is not thinking onto tots.
Can I say these things? Because well, I'm going to, but I've never said. I feel like I was just talking about this, but Cinda is dancing queen. Like you, I think you like to dance. Like I think there are a few things that bring you like such illicit, pure, unadulterated joy as dancing. You know, it could be like candy in bed and snuggles and dancing.
I do love them cuddles.
And I was probably gonna make like a my dick joke there, but I think you like dancing more.
Than your dick?
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know about that. You don't smile as much. No, but so when I met you, and you were dancing way different than I've ever seen, and I was like, "What is this bitch doing?" And I was telling you at lunch where I was like, "Man, it would be crazy if I would have met you and Sheridan at the same time." I was like, "Oh, this is like." It was just. It was just. I mean, it's like imagine you see it's like living, it's like experiencing a different culture. Mm-hmm. Like you've never eaten that type of food, or you've never seen somebody do something this way. So it was so outside. It's just like everything I knew of dancing was people dancing to, you know, hip hop or top 40 at a club. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, guys trying to like dance around a girl. It's always like this one way. And I had never really experienced people just getting on their own mode to EDM. And then when like,
I love it.
Yeah. And that said, it's crazy because I would have considered myself like, I'm pretty sure the first like 6 months we hung out, it was just like when we went to like connections for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a dancer. Like Cinda loves to dance, and it was always chill for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't dance and you do, no big deal. But you definitely got me into dancing, and now I like go out like.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I love it.
It is fun, and I have danced before. Like there are times when I've done it, but it's not. It hasn't been like a regular thing.
I like a couple years ago, or maybe even more than that. I really wanted to put a focus on dancing with people and not just at the same time. And I still like just doing it my own thing, like eyes closed, walking backwards, bumping into people like a dick. Like I will never stop doing that. But also, I've been experiencing a lot of joy, actually dancing with people. Yeah. Shout out Sheridan. I love it, dancing with her so much. She's like, yeah.
Also,
super fun.
One thing about bumping into people, which I think is probably both people's mistake, but...
No, my eyes are closed and I'm walking backwards on a crowded dance floor. It's my fault.
Yeah, but here's where I'm going to defend you, or like the opposite. Because I've seen... If I'm walking towards an area and there's this bitch going pew, 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 pew like this, I'm not going to just walk straight and then be like, oh, you bumped into me. Like, no, I can see that I'm walking this way and this girl's all over. I'm going to like kind of... Yeah. And so it is wild when I'm like, you didn't see the way she was dancing all over and like you still just decided to walk straight through her. That seems silly.
Yeah, when people were still allowed to bring like flow props to like shows and stuff, like poi or hoops.
Yeah, like the other night.
Yeah, people would just be like walking straight into them and being like, oh, you hit me. And then like a lot of times they're not allowed anymore because of that. Like even if it is a big enough venue that they could be in back and have an area.
Yeah.
But it's just like, bro, they're lit up and everything.
Yeah, they created, like, they already had their space, and then they're doing that. And I don't think everybody does. Yeah. Like, that one fucking bitch that had that whip at Xanadu, and she's like, I'm like, I was here first. Like, I'm just sitting.
She's pretty thick.
You came over here, and then you started whacking.
Those little fiberglass things, they hurt too.
Fucking hit me in the face. I was like, dude, I'm sitting right here, and you're not paying attention at all. Yeah. But on the counter, what I'm saying is, like, for example, when I was seeing Sam over there doing poi, I'm like, yeah, he already found oh yeah, this is an open space. Yeah. I'm going to do it over here. So then if you're an asshole and just like walking straight through and get hit, I'm like, you saw him from a mile away. Shut up. I don't know if they were yelling at me, but shut up anyway. Yeah. Slow down. Slow down. Yeah, that was a good show. I want to, there's the thing that shout out Antenna, was that I really liked. I mean, the music's good. It's not, I was thinking, now I swear fuck, dude. My thoughts are not coming out succinct. I was, think every show since I started having the idea to play music, every show I go to, I'm like, ooh, I want to do that, or I don't want to do that, or I want like, it's like all giving me like direction and inspiration. Like, But his visuals were so good.
They were sick. They were so good.
Everything
I wonder, we should look up who does their...
I think it's him. He was talking about how he built it through AI.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. And he had like 10 pages of prompts or something.
Yeah,
like
he said he's like, I wrote like a book, but yeah, you can come up with a couple themes like, ooh, I want it to be Knights of Templar themed, but I want it to be dark and mysterious, and then you could use like, oh, I want it to be in the vibe of this.
I would love doing that too, because there's a lot of times where I think that like when I like music is like this form of time travel, where you're like, oh, now I'm in this like, I'm in this like back alley in fucking the Middle East, trading, or I'm in Mesopotamia, or I'm like catching bad guy music, or
what's that music that we were laying on the dirt? And it was like Jurassic music, and you're like, "Oh, I can hear the dinosaurs." Like, and that's what it felt like. It was just
it was like raining. It was just like
we're like, whoa.
That was it. That was so good.
Yeah,
just like,
but I think that
is dance in the rain.
I wonder if I've never used it, to be fair, so I wonder how it works. But I wonder if when you're giving prompts, say the AI thing gives you like 30 seconds of video or 20 seconds after a prompt.
Yeah.
So then you can you might need to get like a ton of prompts. You're like, I don't like that. And you finally get one and you're like, ooh, that vibe.
And then
then it's like ChatGPT where you're like, okay, save that vibe.
Yeah.
I want it to be like that, but then make this thing do that. So now it knows the vibe. And then
you've already built the foundation of it in this learning.
I wonder if it's like that.
No, I'm sure it is because like that's how people do like their books and everything.
Yeah.
But
yeah, a lot of people have been using chat. My friend Ben, the 44 North rep, he used ChatGPT to write a book for bartending.
I think that you told me that he was just like, oh yeah, I just
published this book, and I thought I didn't realize he did that, and it was like more of a gag. But it's like he's on the cover, like pouring a cocktail, and he wrote this book and he's selling it. I was like, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
Just imagine too, like when you. I don't know. I like the idea that he expressed that he used AI and like that's he's like, I'm working with this thing, but because I do think it's like you either, I mean, it's not going away, so it's like you can either fight it. Like Napster was a big negative for a lot of musicians and the industry and everything, and people fought it.
Metallica throwing all those hits.
A ton of bands did. No, I don't. I never.
Metallica was like probably the most like
vocal against that.
Yeah, and it's like someone who like I think they got caught a lot of shit because they're like, music megalith. So
I saw this. I think that hopefully that was a lesson for everybody else in every.
In any industry, there's going to be everything evolves, and so. Once people stopped having hard music, people don't own music anymore. They own files. Like they don't own like something that is a piece of property that is music. And
it's like I don't know. There was this age where you could control everything. And you can control the narrative, and then it's just like they discovered. Over time that the people that fought Napster lost. Even though they were able to close it down sometimes, it's just like the age of shareable music kicked off then and they couldn't fight it. And the people that fight it, I mean, I guess Metallica didn't go under or anything, but it's just like you were on the labels did. The labels that didn't embrace it definitely suffered. And it's like if you do embrace it, you're okay, so figure out how we can use this. It's happening, so
we're adopting it.
Do we want to fight it or adopt it? And with AI, it's like I was telling Lewis about even just writing, because I've been writing for 20 years or 30 years or whatever. So I do write. I know what I think is good and what's not. When I would use AI to help me with rhymes, I mean, I used to use rhymezone.com to find rhymes. I want to understand tool. Where. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing when everybody's just like, oh, that's they disregard a lot of AI creations, or as soon as someone's like, oh yeah, I use this as a tool, they're like, well, fuck that, that's not from you. There are prompts there. You still have to give prompts, and so no matter what, even if you didn't put in your own writing or ask it stylistically. You still have to be able to speak to it well enough, and so it's just a different skill set. And and you still have to, if it's creating art, then you still have to see that vision that you're asking AI to create.
Also, it's just you can. I mean, you can stand on it. You could die on any of these hills. Yeah. You could, if you're a person who didn't have digital creations, and then you're like, oh well, you used a computer to edit your photos instead of processing through you're not a real photographer.
And
that has always been the case. People will say that.
Yeah, that's very purish vinyl versus mixture.
But it's fighting the new technology. But your technology was new to somebody else. Everything is going to be. A photograph is easier than fucking drawing or painting out a portrait of somebody sitting there for 4 hours. And they would probably think that your art is fucking cheap and fake. All you did was take a picture. I had to fucking paint this for 4 hours, which is crazy, and that's a lot of work.
But it's it's just
photography
it's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes.
Hey. Oh my God. I did miss you though. Okay. What do you miss Let's talk about 75 hard.
Oh.
We just finished.
Yeah. It was like the biggest test of self-discipline and self-control that I have committed to practice and succeeded in.
Ever? Do you think ever?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it was like, so like I went sober, like I did everything, like that. This was something that I was going to do for myself. It wasn't court ordered. And it wasn't, and it wasn't because I was like fucking tanking my life and I needed to change something. Cause I've definitely like been able to like I've been,
and I needed to change.
But I've definitely gotten my shit together when I'm like, holy shit, you self-destructed. Like the bomb went off and now you have to pick up the rebel. Like, but this time I was like in a pretty good place. I, you know, not a pretty good place. I've been in a good place for a while now. And so I was like, oh, let's just do this. I don't have a problem with drinking personally. I don't with my drinking. Maybe other people have problems with my drinking, but that's not something that, not a vice of mine anymore. But
it is. I was thinking about some of my friends that met you. I was like, I do think that some people have only met you drinking. They're like, oh, Cinda loves to drink, and I'm like, yeah, but the 2 times she met you was like the only 2 times she's drank in the last 6 months or whatever. You know, I'm the one who drinks a lot.
Yeah, you drink more than I do.
Yeah, way more.
But yeah,
I feel like I drink way more than you do in general, and I don't know that was the case. Like when I first met you, like you were drinking a lot more.
Yeah,
but,
I was.
You were a person who doesn't drink that much to me anyway.
Yeah, I just I don't party as much as I used to in general.
But you also like you're like I don't keep liquor or booze at the house. Like you never drink at the house.
Yeah, I don't drink at my house.
Versus I always drink at the house.
Only like I've drank at my house like when John and I like got back from like a show or something and like we polished off a bottle that was there. Yeah. And that I think that's the only time that I like drank at the house. I've had like a couple beers, but I don't drink at my home. I like go out to be social and stuff then.
Yeah, and even when I went to like when you were living with Shanae, we would have like a beer there when we were going out. But
I don't.
And then when you lived with Daniel and Robbie, we had that one night we went over and we drank, but it was like because you're having friends over. It wasn't like
it's definitely.
But yeah, so do you think that what is your favorite thing? What is the best thing about 75 Hard? And what's the worst thing about 75 Hard?
I usually give myself like I validate just quitting and go. I'm too easy on myself a lot of times, and so just being like, no, you can do the hard stuff because this is what you said you were going to do, and keeping my word and being of higher integrity is something that I've really tried to focus on. And so this is instead of having this outside like validation and for doing it for either public persona or for personal social interactions, this was just me to me. And so I like that was really good for me to do.
Yeah, I like that. What's the worst part?
The water was the hardest, hands down. I don't like it was good to figure out like when we went to Arizona, just being like, okay, so we're gonna do like if it's important and you're gonna do it, get it done in the morning. Like just hands down, like that is AM shit if it's important to you. Like that's you get it done.
Because you have no idea where your day's gonna go.
Yeah, and you don't wanna I also like to have a lot of fly by the seat of my pants time.
Me too.
So
I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy.
Yeah. So I want to be free form in my afternoon if my schedule allows. And so I like to have that,
creating the time to be
and
free
be like,
form.
oh, you could have this afternoon if you had designated your time. So time management was also a huge blessing.
Yeah.
But the hardest,
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. Because I don't know. I was thinking more of, well, you could answer this too, because not only the hardest part, but I guess the biggest thing that I didn't like about it, and the thing I liked the most about it. And so the thing I liked the most about it was, I think I agree. Well, I definitely agree, but the idea that I can do something hard.
Yeah.
That shines for almost anything I do that's hard. You know, whether it's the cold soak, which I haven't done in forever, but when I was doing cold soak,
builds up resilience.
It was, and it makes, it's just this feel good, like I did a thing that was hard today. You know, like I did not want to do it. And it's not even just making the bed. Yeah. You know, like I think that's good. You know, like, oh, I accomplished something. I made the bed. I tidied it up. That's great.
Did something of effort.
Yeah,
that
like
you didn't want to do.
Fuck, I don't want to do
It's like when you don't want to do it too, you build up that like fortitude.
Almost every time you feel better after doing it.
Right. And you're
just because of I did it.
Yeah, and you're working stress, because stress is like, there's like the stress that when you feel overwhelmed by it and you're like, you crumple underneath it. Yeah. And then there's working stress when you're like, oh shit, this is lighting a fire underneath my pants. Let's get this fucking shit done. You know, and so working stress is good as long as you can handle it. Like that's a healthy thing to have. So I feel like this was also practicing resilience and, you know, that type of handling things. Yeah. And stress management is also something I'm really trying to.
Well, and so one of the things I like that you said was keeping your word to yourself. And I think that is one of the only reasons I do stick with this shit. Yeah, is my commitment to keeping my word. And I'm not sure, like, I guess I learned it from growing up or whatever, but like, I was just like, if you say you're going to do a thing, you do a thing. And that, I feel like that alone, or like maybe that plus some ego, is the thing that makes me stick with these things. Because I know a lot of people quit, and I know that the people that have quit aren't non-disciplined people half the time. Like, it's just like a lot of shit. And then, like, but there is something in me that's just like, you said you're gonna do this, and you're gonna look like a dummy if you quit, and you're not gonna quit. You're gonna be, and like, but like, I think it's half me saying I did the thing. I was like, okay, so you promised yourself in the moment. But then I also am like, you'll be so embarrassed if you quit, because everyone will know that you're a fucking quitter and you only made it 40 days.
Yeah, and after like day 50, I was like, okay, I've done everything. I've created the habit of going to the gym all the time. I've like seen a little bit of results. I feel like I've gotten the feel goods for like, oh hell yeah, you're doing the things, you know? And so I would have comfortably quit then. I think that I feel like unless you're trying to reform your life, I think that 50 days, 30 days is enough. But I don't think I didn't want to lose face either.
I don't think that reforming your life to the permanent style of 75 hard is feasible for most people. No, I don't think it's even like advisable. Good. Like, yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's like fucking
And no offense, Andy Frisella or whatever the fuck your name is, that like shout out you. I mean, we did it because you created it, but like I do get it, that I do understand that these periods of time when I did things that I don't like doing and I had to move things around and I'm like, fuck this. I think that I will look back and be like, I'm very glad I did it. I mean, I feel that way now. I'm very glad I did it. But like, I don't want to do this once a year. Yeah. I don't want, like, I would run a marathon once a year, but I don't think I want to do this once a year.
I think that
of course, I've never ran a marathon. So
I think that like people shit on New Year's resolutions a lot because of course any day is the day to change, right? But people like signify birthdays are cool because it's like a point in time when every day could be the same, you know? And so I do think that to start your year off fresh, or like whatever time period of it, that's like whatever time you designate. It doesn't have to be
the new year, but we kind of collectively designate
just being like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and like be like, just make a commitment to yourself, your self growth. You're like, I think that's good. So I do want to do something every, you know, maybe I'll do one on my birthday because that's kind of, it's like, you know, 8 months after, and so do something for a month then, and do like another challenge. Well, now I fuck 75 hard again. I'm not gonna do this again.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. I am saying that with at least a 5% openness, because sometimes, you know, fast forward 5 years, I might be like, you know what, I need a kick in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say never. It's not, that's not gonna be a hard line if I want to do it. Like, I said this one time on your podcast, I wouldn't.
It's like fucking making kids. 12-year-olds get a purity ring and be like, you're not gonna have sex till you're married, and you're promising me right now, like moms that make a kid do that. I'm like, you coerced a kid who has no idea what the fucking temptations of sex is in the first place. They have no idea what the next 8 years, 10 years of their life is gonna bring, and you're gonna try to like guilt them into like some commitment that they made when they're 12 about like
keeping their purity.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like promise rings are very Judeo-Christian thing.
It is. I mean, that happened a lot in my upbringing.
I remember being so jealous. I was like, I want a CTR ring, like what is it?
CTRN?
CTR, like something the rod. It's a Mormon thing.
Oh, I don't know much about them.
But all the cool girls, all the cool athletic pretty girls were Mormon in my school. I was like,
what are they doing, anal?
I don't think so.
Bet you didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I graduated a virgin. I only kissed like one person, two people in high school.
It is crazy when I meet people that are like fucking at 14. I'm like, holy shit, dude.
I mean, that's not that wild to me because I know that like there were people that were that.
See, it was wild to me,
Yeah.
but I was in a cult.
Yeah, I knew like
it was very rare.
I knew that like people are slutty, and I feel like that happens even more like now. I also feel bad because I'm just like there's a lot of girls that like are like people that just like popped really early in high school. They're like, damn, you were just like getting wasted, maybe did some hard drugs, got knocked up, and now you're boring. Because I was like you peaked at 15. That was like, like there were better parties ahead of your life in your life.
Yeah,
you could have had way more fun.
For sure. I gotta pee. So I started the conversation with like we believe that people that worshipped in different ways were going to hell. They was wrong. It was the false god, whatever. Even though personally now I believe like Muslims are probably worshiping the same God as Christians. They just have a completely different narrative the whole way up.
Yeah, it's what story touches them first, and like there's
and where they grew up, etc.
Yeah,
like the whole.
There's a reason why religion has like gods have existed like throughout humanity.
Yeah,
like and they've definitely like evolved and changed like from ancient days to now, but we were always asking for answers and looking up to like the greater than or like the source of.
And are the gods changing or is our narrative changing?
Our narrative is
right,
like but
and so one of the things that
how he finds you,
right, or she,
or
they,
or the bigger. I don't think it's finding. I think it's as realizing,
right?
For the record,
and maybe all of these things point to the same greater. Who knows? But like, so you were saying you do have the ability, or you have found that when you pray, your prayers get answered.
I have had 4 moments. I don't think there have been a lot of times when I've been desperate, feeling very like back to the wall, like living in a shame like spiral. And I do think that I was asking for the suffering to end versus a conclusion to happen.
Yeah.
And but like there like these times, 4 times in my life I prayed. I was like in these impossible situations. I was like, dude, I'm fucked. I don't really know what to do. And just my phone started working during one. My car like turned back on. It was dead as fuck. Other things that I won't talk about. Just like I was saved. You know, and I do think that like made me question my faith when I was younger. But now I expect that. I don't think that it's from God. I was like, God,
are you there?
It's hi, God, it's me, Cinda.
Yeah.
But
So then my question is, like that's not, or like that is.
Yeah.
That is.
And I think that happens to people that are very earnestly like. I think that
seeking.
Yeah, and I just like I'm thankful for whatever
Yeah.
Shit came through.
So then my question is, how does. I'm very curious about this conversation.
How do you feel about like when it's the opposite?
Yeah, so when it's the opposite, like you're in a desperate situation and you reach out to the greater, whether it's God, the collective, and you're just like, I'm fucked right now. I need this assistance, and you don't get it. Do you have those memorable moments, or do you think those memorable moments fade? And the ones where you
that's
get
how memory works. Yeah, we just remember the cherry, and the cherry and the trauma.
That's kind of one of the things I was pointing to. Is like, do you think that it's more? Yeah, you remember the 4 times that were great, but what about the times you never got it?
So like, even I am powerful and stupid because I do speak things into existence, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know it was gonna look like this. So like the entire like reset, like
yeah, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So last winter I was working at the airport for Spirit. It doesn't really matter. Shout out Spirit. You're not crashing.
Only plane that's not
crashing.
Yeah,
you're not crashing. It's because I buy older planes. All anyone says, what the fuck, Boeing? But yeah, I slow rolled into this car. And then
This is in the parking lot,
in
right?
the parking lot, in the employee parking lot, I ended up having to like go to work on the shuttle, call the number like numerous times. No one picked up. Immediately went to the police officer that was on site and was like, "Hey, this happened." Didn't move my fucking car an inch.
Yeah.
He went down, took some pictures, like got the video, and then a police officer came to my house the next day, took a statement. Because the statement was written where my car wasn't, then I got a fucking hit and run. And then I went to court. The judge didn't see the police report. I would have pled not guilty had I known, but the state was just like, "Oh no, you're just gonna pay court fees, like $180,
yeah,
and then we'll just be done with this." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I don't want to come back here." And so I
so you pled guilty.
And then the judge, I have 2 DUIs, and I did about probation so bad.
When were your DUIs?
7 years ago.
Yeah,
7 years ago. 7 and 8, and I just like I fucked off probation really good, and so she was like, "Oh, Miss Fitch, it seems like you have a problem with the law and behind a wheel." So I got my license suspended for a year. I have I had to do a couple classes, $800 in fines, a week of sealed, like it. So
Dude.
That was like, and I was like working. I was cleaning a lot of houses at the time. My body was hurting. I didn't want to put that many hours on it, like my fucking car. You need to find a better direction. And now I am, I've rooted myself a little bit more. I've built more stability. I've like figured out ways to like do it on my own. Thank you for helping me all the time for all the things. And I am like, now went back to school. I'm like, have a different path. So I did speak this into existence. I was like, holy fuck, that was
Dude,
not the way I thought it was going to come.
That's crazy. You know what's funny? I was thinking about when you're talking is when you explain your hardships, like after the fact, it's very like, yeah, that was kind of tough. And I was like, dude, this was awful.
Yeah, I was pretty devastated.
But like, it wouldn't, not just for you, like it is an awful.
It is really shitty.
Like, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Because, the way, like, you're just.
So this like, is what I have.
I love. I mean, that is actually a really good perspective now to take too. To be like, yeah, like this actually. Made
I can talk about all my hard days if they're behind me. If I'm in the middle of them, then I have a really hard time communicating it.
It was ridiculously hard because, like, for me from the outsider, I know your history. Like, I already knew you were like, yeah, you had 2 DUIs. You went to jail. I feel like you were like overly punished for breaking a probation when your mom died, like all that like bullshit.
Yeah, that was
way behind you, right? But so you like you back into a car in the middle of winter when it's icy, and it's a fender bender at the very most.
Yeah, this car, he was gone for 3 months in like Europe for like the car that I hit.
It's just sitting
I
there.
had it towed, fixed, and brought back by the time this guy never even saw a fucking scratch.
Yeah.
Like,
so already it's just this very minor thing. Like we've all done, right? We've all had these things, like the shopping cart, whatever, you know, like the little bump. So like, okay, we get it. Yeah, we all make mistakes, whatever. And okay, it's a hit and run. I kind of sucks.
Yeah,
but I understand. But you go to the court, they're like, yeah, dude, they obviously see that it's so minimal. They're like, oh, that's it. Okay. $180, let's just take care of this. It's all fine.
Yeah,
and then you get this person that has no idea the situation, just looks at like papers that weren't explained or whatever. Even if you were the worst person, it was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So you're looking at all these infractions from 7 years ago, and then you see a girl who just has a fender bender, and you go, you know what? It looks like you're a problem, and like they take your license for a year over a fender bender. Yeah, lose your job.
Completely made me pivot the way that I socialize and who with, how often.
Yeah, and then also like, okay, so if you're a person who survives on a job, which most people are, you take that away from them, and then you say, yes, you need to pay to do these classes. You need to pay for this. And like, those are those moments where I'm like, no wonder people end up in this prison system.
Yeah, because they just like can't. That's what it's set up for a lot of times with felonies. People will get like, they'll get a writer, and then that's like 3 months, and then it's like you take classes and everything in prison, and every single prisoner gets paid, like the state gets paid X amount for doing what do they call it, programming.
Yeah.
And so then they get out, and then they're usually on drug court. Drug court is like a series of phases. I forget how many there are, but you get like phased down for like you wore a fucking tank top, you were late for here. Like they're just like they very much encourage snitching, and like just they make it very, very hard. You have to go to court once a week. You have to go to all these classes. You have to make your UAs. And I've never done drug court, but bet if I had the fucking option, I would not take it. I would just be like, you know what? I would like, who knows? I don't think that I'll get in trouble like really ever again. But my advice is to top out.
Let's top out. Maybe.
That's like when you're just like, hey, I really want to put this behind me. Could you just give me all my time? I don't want to walk out on probation. Oh. I would just rather stay a little bit longer and clean. Yeah. If it's not like a big offense and it's a first offense, then I'd like just top out.
Yeah. I do regret like not getting a lawyer for that situation. Like if you had yeah.
I didn't know. I know.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm like if we would have just got a lawyer before you knew, like, because that's the problem. We made a decision, or you made a decision out of not knowing. Yeah. If you would have made a decision out of knowing, he'd be like, "Do not plead guilty, no matter what," or whatever. And how was I
to know? Because I even talked to like my public defender, and I was like, "So I did like the fact that I did like walk away from the accident site is completely true, and they're going to see that." And she's like, "Well, they like." You can get in front of a jury. It's going to take this much time. Yeah. But this is what they're asking for. And then, like, she was like, are you fucking serious? Yeah. Judges don't like my face. Like, if that's I don't think it's because.
Do you think it's the Idahoans don't like Asians? Or do you think that it's you're pretty and they're not?
I think they're like, this little bitch gets everything she wants, and I'm not going to be.
She's like, she's hot. Her life is easy.
Yeah. And I think that, like, for whatever reason, there's like some people too that like they think that I'm either spoiled or entitled, and
you don't even have resting bitch face.
I'm like, I have resting nice face. I'm like, most people are like, oh, she'll entertain my bullshit, hold space, be comfort, and I am. But
what is resting nice face? You never make that face.
No, I feel like people can see that I'm patient and that I'll if people are uncomfortable, then I'm like, oh yeah, come.
See, I get okay.
Come to my.
Do you think?
Yeah.
So, we were talking about earlier how people like dislike other people because they're pretty, and they're like
the narrative.
Yes, it's okay. So, for example, we were talking about that girl that we like, and she's really pretty.
Yeah.
And I was like, sometimes people think, oh, this person is such an attention seeker, and in reality, well, at least in this situation, I see that person as like she's very energetic.
Yeah,
when she goes out, she's very social, and she loves to have fun.
And if anybody else did that, it would be okay.
And I resonated with that because I do that. Like when I'm out, I'm like, I'm here for a good time, so I want to be energetic. I want to be like,
and you are just naturally. It's just like, oh, this is a fun time. I'm loud.
And I want to be like, I want to be the life of the party, and maybe it's partially attention seeking, but most of it I feel like is I want to have fun.
Yeah, also as vibe curating, you're really great at promoting this,
and I'm not upset when somebody else is also the life of the party, either with me or even more. But sometimes when people the people that would judge that type are like, oh well, I'm not getting the attention, or like she always has to get the center attention. I'm like, maybe she's just having fun and you're never having fun, and so maybe you should examine why you're not having fun. And enjoying yourself when you're out.
Even if they are attention seeking, just like that shouldn't affect your good day at all. I feel like that's when I get self-conscious, that is like the main thing that I feel like people think like, oh, this bitch just like is like, oh, look at me, or just like wants to, thinks that she's a shit. And I'm like, if you only knew my damaging self-talk cycles, my God.
So then so I was curious because I mean I know I don't know where I got from that other conversation, but but I was curious because I feel like I don't have a lot of people that don't like me, but maybe I just don't know. Because I feel like I have a lot of people that I really connect well with, but I am those things.
Yeah.
Like I am the person who probably is like, I'm getting more attention than the average person. And I'm like, do I just not realize that?
People don't like you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, really.
But I actually do go, and maybe this is actually a good way to go through life. Just assume that everybody likes you, because I do assume that most people like me, and I feel great. I don't know if that's even like an ego thing or if it's just the way I see the world.
That's kind of
but
like
I haven't really dealt with a lot of
like if anybody
people that don't like me,
like would get to know me like well enough or long enough, then I agree. They'll want to be my friend because I'm loyal as fuck. I'm kind. But there are like it's not like I'm perfect by any means, and I haven't we were talking about the integrity thing with 75 Hard. Yeah. So I like if you're gonna segment anybody's life into their like worst moments, then you're gonna get bad press. And I think that's why I have anxiety sometimes, because I like still need to do some self forgiveness to be like, what Yeah,
but here's the thing that I
figure out how to move.
I think that the difference between, I think this is a male and female thing potentially.
Maybe.
And hear me out, but
way over there on Mars.
I thought we were on Venus.
No, I'm on Venus.
Oh, you're on Venus. I thought women were on penis.
No. I mean, sometimes.
Oh. Sometimes. Only when it counts.
Yeah. No, we don't. We don't do body count.
We don't?
I mean, I say we don't. I'm like, I don't. Me, myself, and I.
Oh, no, I have a count.
What is it? I wish I had an account.
Wait, have we ever talked about this?
I've like tried to like ballpark it because I'm not like super hoey, but I wouldn't care if I was.
I bet if you said your number to the average person, you would be hoier.
Yeah, there's like that thing where it's like I found out like that like went pretty viral. Like I found out the average person has like 6 sexual partners in their life. I found out today also that I'm a whore.
Yeah. It's crazy. The average. Well, and then you have to think of, is it the average of America or the average of the world? Yeah. Because America is.
I'm like, can we not let the boomers like fucking vote on this? Because they were like,
right,
they
exactly.
got fucking roped into monogamy and didn't really see divorce as a fucking option.
Oh yeah, and they're probably like, especially the ones that weren't cheating, they were like with their high school sweetheart just the whole way through.
Yeah, sexually oppressed.
Yeah. I have. I actually haven't looked at the list in probably a year, but I've wrote a list of everybody I've had sex with.
I would not be able to do
I kept it from it on, but yeah. I think I'm at like 112 or something.
Like when I was 18, I would just be like, it would never be like I'd sleep with just a bunch of randoms, but I'm like, these 3 people I'm sleeping with until they like get girlfriends, or 4 people. I think the most that I ever had in rotation was 4, and then I would just be like, just like text them all separately at the same time, be like, who's coming back, like who's ending up at the dorms, like right now, because let's smoke a blunt.
Maybe. But Cinda, I have to pee real quick.
Okay.
So when I was first having sex, there was another conversation I wanted to talk about that we were talking about earlier. It's getting to that point where I'm pretty drunk and I'm probably gonna lose conversations.
Should you put it on like a board?
Yes.
As you go, yeah. I feel like that's.
If I think about it, but when I was like at, I don't know, 10 or 20, I was like, I want to fuck 100 girls in my life.
And then you're like,
somebody talked about that. I was like, that's so many. And then I remember getting close. I was like, holy shit, I'm almost to 100. Like it was like a big deal in my mind. And once I hit 100, I've still like wrote down most people because I have this idea of
you are sentimental.
70 or 80 to look back like,
it's like a little,
but it's definitely not a notch thing. I don't think it's a notch thing. I do think it is like, that's why I'm writing names, not numbers. Like I want to like, oh yeah, I remember her. Oh, like, oh, that was that girl that.
As like fuckboyish as like, so I feel like some people could take like your like the things that you say and
I'm pretty douchey.
You know how you are like and like bravado wise. I do think that ultimately you're very thankful for having the experiences with a woman that you do. And like grateful and respectful of that, opportunity to fuck them. Like, and that means a lot. I feel like in the like the long term things. That's why I came back for my sweater.
You did come back for your sweater. I also, I know it's a joke, but when I tell Nicole, I'm like, I treat my 3 girlfriends better than most guys treat their 1. I obviously am making somewhat kidding, but if I did have 3 girlfriends, I would treat them better because I am a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I think I'm a sweetheart.
Yeah, I don't think that I like that it's like, oh, I'm gonna treat them better. I don't think that like any like guys are more guys than multiple men are capable of treating women well.
Yes.
But I do like to be like, oh, you're gonna be the best.
But they are few and far between.
Yeah.
People are pretty terrible sometimes.
Yeah, I think that in relationships, like you treat your best friend the worst, you treat your boyfriend or girlfriend, you lash out at them.
Yeah.
You also get they get the best of you, but during your worst times, like
they get the worst of you.
They take the friendly fire and the hits, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
They're close to like the impact site too. There's gonna be like they're in the building, they'll feel the implosion even if nobody else notices it around, you know?
Yeah. How do cheers.
Cheers.
How do you feel about I feel like it'd be fun to talk about, but so as sluts, I would consider myself slut. On the purest definition of the word, the way I consider myself a pizza slut.
Because you just like it a lot.
Yeah, I like a lot. And then I like
you lean into it.
Yeah, obviously.
Like you like making it fun. You're not like, oh, I enjoy pizza. You're like, no, bitch, I always have it in my freezer. It is my snack of choice.
Yeah.
I like outfits. I like lashes. I like, you know.
Yeah, I wonder how, like, I'm sure there's multiple definitions of slut. Because there's, like, even for me, or me and you, there's the idea of slutty, which is fucking a lot of people. Yeah. And then there's the idea of slutty is being a hoe for one person, like being like more like porn star or like more kinky slutty.
When it was more derogatory, I defined it as being tacky. And like that's how also I currently define cultural reparation or what is it? Not reparation, cultural.
When you're talking the cultural
when you're
term
mimicking,
for it?
No, when you're mimicking another person's appropriation.
Oh, appropriation.
So I think that emulation is like it's complementary, and then I also think that we are like as humans we borrow from different people's cultures all the time for fashion. But if it's tacky, don't be some stupid douche bro in a fucking like feather, like I don't know, what do they call it? Headdress. Jesus.
But also
like the fucking drinks are working.
Yeah, they are. Dude, you're drunk. Yeah, I was drinking to get there.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, I don't really talk shit about anyone, but that girl is a dumb bitch.
That's funny.
Yeah, she's just so aggressive. I'm like, why are you rude all the time? I like it.
I forget who that was.
It was Emily.
Oh yeah.
And I've like tried to be your friend because like there are moments where I'm just like, dude, I do like when you put your like guard down a little bit, but I'm just like, you're so prickly that I do not want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Yeah.
What were we just talking about before that?
Body counts.
No. With culture appropriation.
Appropriation being tacky. That's what I think tacky. That's what I think about being like slutty. If you're like super tacky, and I'm like, they're like, ooh, you.
I know.
And I think that's what you think too, because like during like date nights when I'm like all fucking, when I put on lashes in slutty outfits, and you're like, ooh, you look slutty, versus most of the time you're like, oh, you look really pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree, but also I disagree. So what about, okay, so, I mean, not that I disagree, I just think there's so many definitions, because there is the definition of there is like the negative connotation. Like this girl is slutty, and you are viewing what she's doing as inappropriate or tacky, you were looking down on her, like that. There's that
someone that has more modest sensibilities about
and they're using that word as a derogatory term, right?
Yeah, because who would share their bodies with multiple people?
Yeah, and I would use it as like a positive term, or like I'm in this camp where it's very contrarian, and I'm like, I want to take back that. I want to take back that term, not take it back because I don't think we ever owned it, but I like. It's the idea of somebody who owns their sexuality and like, I want to fuck who I want. I want to dress how I want, etc.
It's like stepping out of slut shaming and like being like I don't know, embarrassed about your sexuality, and yeah.
But what I'm saying is
Wow.
the only problem I have with the definition of being tacky or not is that is very subjective. So like the thing that you might say that is tacky, somebody else might say this is my everyday wear. Like this isn't tacky. This is like that's all subjective of like how I see the world. So gaudy eyelashes to you is like could be tacky, and to somebody else is like I love this shit. I wear this all the time.
Yeah.
And like the same with like we were talking about like a girl with her titties out at a show or a dinner or whatever.
Life, yeah.
Like some people were like that is inappropriate or that girl's dressing slutty.
Like, how does she should respect herself more. That's the one that it really gets me. I'm just like,
and I don't agree. Yeah, I disagree with this that 100%. Shame. And like to me, I'm like, yeah, she has nice titties. Like, why would she not? Like, why would she not use what she has?
Sexual oppression is like I feel like the main cause of that. Like the reason why, like when people are really, oh, she's a slut, and they mean it like really, like just like she doesn't respect herself, and she's a fucking bad person because she's this walking fucking heathen. Like that's, I feel like that comes from sexual oppression,
right? I think it also. I mean, obviously, I think it comes from a lot of jealousy. I think also the same reason why I would hate on somebody who drives up in a Ferrari, who I wouldn't as much anymore, but like I would before, and be like, oh, well, he just has to brag about his money so much. He has a Ferrari. Yeah. I'm like, well, he has money, so why wouldn't he use it? Like, if he likes a Ferrari, he would drive a Ferrari or if he, whatever. And the idea of using what you have to, like express yourself the way you want, or maybe you are trying to meet a mate, because I don't want to make it all. It's not always about meeting another person, but a lot of times it is. It's like I present myself the way I want because I want to attract another person or attract the opposite sex or whatever, or
even like you're the same.
But it doesn't have to be that.
Like it could be just attracting like same individuals.
Yeah, I want to create this. This is who I am in this community, but why is the physical so like? If you just came in and lorded all your book knowledge over me, because like I could hate on you the same way I hate on that girl that lorded her titties over me. Like, like you're
people
using.
Get hated on for both things. So right. People don't like that either. I don't think that anybody.
That is true. Like, we don't like that either.
When people lean on one part of their personality too much and they become they're in that vacuum, then I think people don't like it because they're like.
Yeah.
Shut up and say something else except for, campaigning for this one attribute all the time.
But when if you're a person that is just hating on somebody else for the way that they're presenting, I always think it's a good reason to look inward. It's just like, dude, why do you care that she has her like titties out or she is dressed a little more slutty than you would prefer? Like why is that hurting you? And like what is your issue? And a lot of times it does, like personally I think it comes from jealousy, because it's like a girl's like, oh, she's getting more attention in the room, well I think that she's only using that for attention and blah blah blah, and like I wish her father loved her, but I don't judge.
I
guess it sounded like you were judging for the last 2 minutes.
If someone says I don't judge, they're fucking.
That's normally after a judgmental state.
There's like candy wrap in their their shit talk about.
Yeah. It is funny. I catch myself in that shit because I'm pretty judgy at times. I'm like, dude, look at that fucking dumbass.
Judgment means discernment, and so we all judge it. It's just like whether it's like, within reason and what it's about. It makes like I feel like it's telling. But
I mean, I feel like it's like how you meet somebody in a specific setting, because like if you meet me in certain settings, you're gonna be like, Josh is only about this thing. It's like that lady at my bar, she's like, all you're about is fucking random strange. I'm like, well, you're not fully wrong, because I am about fucking random strange.
Just don't fucking don't.
But I present that more at the bar, like
don't put me on don't put me on a fucking plane.
Actually that's why I like speak or doing this kind of stuff, like podcasting, I'm like, if you're a person who sees me one way and you did want to get to know me a different way, you can listen to this podcast because this presents a completely different side of me
absolutely.
than when I'm at a bar. I'm like, dude, we're here to have fun. We're like being ridiculous. I'm not going to tell you about
it's not the time
2 days ago when I was crying or whatever. Like,
or like deeper talks. I'm like, you can't get into like a ton of meat.
I would never do that.
See, boy. We were talking about that the other day though, like how at the beginning of our relationship, it was just like super dirty text messages, like all the fucking time, just like slutty slut stuff.
Yeah.
And then when we would get together, then we had all these really like deep, meaningful conversations about like, I don't know, we were reading the same book. And then I found out that you had the same birthday, and I was like,
wait, was it the
Man Search for Meaning?
Yeah, the World War II one.
Yeah, the
Viktor Frankl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah, but we talked about so much more in person, but just kept it very light, like for the beginning, and I loved that because it was just like the duality of it, you know.
That's the thing that that's another thing. Fuck, my brain is like really going, and my ability to communicate some of my thoughts are getting less and less.
I know this reality well.
I do think I was thinking a lot about the idea of sluts, and
as one does.
I know a person that is like, oh, I don't want to have sex until like the 10th date because I don't want to put my sexual side forward first.
Yeah.
Because I want to get to know someone because I'm looking for something long term.
Yeah, but she's like more monogamy, more traditional, wants a marriage, right?
Yes, that's like but see, my opinion on this is even if I wasn't monogamous, I think I would still be sexual forward either way.
Yeah, that's a chemistry that like you can think that you have it, but until you're doing it, you don't know.
And yes. And so I'm not saying that's the wrong way, but I think both ways are valid because if I don't get along with somebody intellectually, we would never last long term.
Yeah.
Right. But if I didn't get it along with somebody sexually, we also would not last long term.
Yeah, you have to have both.
So it doesn't really matter if we started sexually or started intellectually.
Yeah, it's like where you went, like what you do when you're
that's why I don't want to like necessarily put super hard rules on it.
I believe in putting out.
I didn't know that you resonated with me intellectually until at least a couple months in.
Yeah.
Like I knew that we had like sexually were on the same page.
Yeah, that's funny that you didn't know that.
Yeah, but we didn't. I'm not saying that we didn't start talking about it like the first month, but like we definitely didn't text about any
stuff,
Viktor Frankl shit.
Yeah.
We were strictly sexting.
That's what I like though, because like, also we were like neither of us were interested in having a relationship at the time. I told like in the like when we were just like a year in, it's like, oh yeah, our casual nature is like the reason for the longevity in the beginning because we were just it was easy. Everything was easy, you know. It's still easy.
Shout out easy relationships.
Yeah. Sometimes we do the work, but most of the time we're big deal.
Oh, I have a good one. So how do you feel about so people that are like, he only likes you because he only likes you because she lets you fuck other girls.
But it's like said in this way, like where girls are like
that has been said.
They're like they've quite a bit when they're like talking to me about like the nature of a relationship and just like, yeah, and he loves you because you let him fuck other guys or other girls, and I'm like, dude, I don't like we say like let and make like jokingly. I'm like those are not actual fucking like terms. To a healthy relationship. Yeah. Like, you don't let or make anyone do anything.
But that is a normal thing in relationships.
Yeah. But I'm just like...
A lot of relationships are like, yeah, I don't let my dude do that.
I'm like, oh yeah. He just has been... We're just in this relationship because I don't care that he fucks other girls. That's why he loves me. It doesn't matter that I'm dope.
So, I personally think that... I mean, I think that everybody knows we're not monogamous. But, yeah, so like when we started, we were not monogamous because we weren't even dating. And then I don't even think it ever came up for like 8 to 10 months. and then you're like, yeah, I don't think I ever want to be with like just one person.
Yeah, it just
I was
seems
like, holy shit, me neither.
Yeah, I mean, we've like you're like very upfront about just being like, this is how I feel like is the best way for me to live my life, and I have it like dabbled with non-monogamy before, but the communication wasn't there, and so when people are like, oh, I want to do the open relationship thing, I'm just like, well, if I could be more honest with them, I would have told them that it's not going to work out because they're not like ready to have those conversations freely. And so, like, that's what it takes. You can't be ashamed. You can't hide anything because it's not even the cheating that I feel like really fucks with people. It's the deception and it's the disrespect.
Yeah.
And so, like, I have 3 rules in dating, and I should apply them to friendship, but don't lie to me.
Dicks. Oh.
Don't disrespect me. And if you're tired of me, don't hang out with me. And if you can, if all 3 of those things are good, then we're good to kick it.
Yeah.
But
what's the first one?
Don't lie to me. Don't disrespect me. And if you're tired of me, don't hang out with me.
I wanted you to say it again because I totally talked over you the first time.
And I do think that in a long enough friendship or relationship, there's going to be times where you have to work through things. Like that's like when you're closer to somebody, you're gonna experience friendly fire. I say it jokingly a lot of times, like where I'm like, I'm just an accidental asshole, but like if I've ever hurt anybody, I was hurting myself a lot more during those times, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever lied to each other still, and that's impressive. But what happens if we do?
Then we'll be like, hey, I lied to you. And then we'll be like, all right, why? And then we'll work it out.
Because that's the thing that I think that people can't get over. The cheating, the putting your dick inside somebody else, I don't think is necessarily as big of a thing. I mean, I do think it is a big thing for a lot of people. I think that does.
But what does that mean? That you don't find me attractive anymore?
Right, yeah,
that you're like, I'm
connotation.
not satisfying you in this way, that you're not like, you know, it's comes from a fear-based thing.
Right.
That's like why, like, when I was like getting a little bit more like reactive about like girls, I was like, okay, we haven't like exercised this aspect of our relationship in a long time.
Yeah.
But then I just like sat down with myself and was like, okay, so what are you worried about? Like that he doesn't like you, like he's not gonna like love you anymore. Like that's stupid.
But fear comes like fear, like people that don't do non-monogamy. I mean, it's obviously very rare. It's not for everybody, but I think it's probably for more people than they realize.
Or hall pass monogamy when it's just like one.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
be
like,
hey, I was on vacation or this happened. Please understand. Like that's.
But it's just like, to me, to like deny any sort of desire. Like there is even monogamists that still openly talk about attractions to the people or whatever.
That should be a
But
thing.
then there's other people that won't even like entertain that, and you're like, dude, you can't even I guess accept the worldview that your dude is a male and there are tits and ass galore.
And like girls will check everybody out.
Yeah.
Like that's, you know, a thing. And so it's.
Cheers. Sorry.
For some reason I thought I took it.
Welcome to this level of
healthy
podcast.
Relationships. Like, I feel like you can check out both people and just be like, I think that you should be able to laugh at like, you know, the situations when you just like with each other be like, dude, did you see that person over there? Da, da, da. And even if we're like, I'm in a girl, so it's a lot easier for us to like check out girls together. But you know what my type is with a lot of guys. You'd be like,
but see, I can still like
you can still point it out and be like, oh, even look at this guy over there for you.
Even when I was monogamous or like in a monogamous relationships, I still would see other men and be like, dude, that guy's hot.
Yeah, you could be like, check this guy out.
I can see that like if my girl was like, holy shit, like that didn't ever bother me. I mean, maybe more than it does now, but it never bothered me to a degree where I was like, I didn't like that you were checking him out. Like that seems so overly controlling.
Like, what are you?
You don't expect us to find beauty anywhere else in this world?
Like, and you just expect, like, if you think that, like, oh yeah, they think I'm hot because I am. They think I'm sexy. That it doesn't just like the things that they, you know, attraction like in the eyes is like not like you're just like this painting. I love this art. fuck all art.
Yeah.
This is all I'm looking at.
Only one, yeah.
I only do, this is it.
Also, like, everybody that does that, I actually don't think I even know that many people that do that, but everybody that does that kind of idea of
I do in little ways, but
wait, say that again.
I know a lot of relationships that are like that in little ways where it like becomes a defense, like, oh, he was checking out and I'm like, I mean, or like porn's cheating, things like that.
Porn is cheating is a prime example of one of those where you're like, dude.
I think it makes us deny a carnal, like very inherent part of ourselves.
Yeah.
To like deny that we're going to be checking out other people and that we are sexual beings. And so then as soon as that becomes oppressed, we become like people, if they're free and happy, then they live healthier lives, but if they're like kept down, then it becomes like it starts leaking out in weird ways.
Oh yeah.
And then you get like
hence Catholic Church.
Then you get or just misogynism in like its toxic ways.
Yeah.
Like not that it's really never not, but that's the word definition, right? Misogyny is like inherently bad because it's like dick man.
Yeah, I mean it's normally like the most extreme guys that view a female as less than.
Yeah. No, there are a lot of guys that just like have that, like there's little things that are telling in conversation where it's not offensive and it's not worth like actually having a rebuttal. But I'm like, noted. And I'm like, oh, there was someone that I dated like very briefly, and I was like, oh, you just need a dumb girl that thinks that you hung the fucking moon and just wants to be Mrs. his first name, last name, Like that's would have been really, really good for them, like, or for him. Yeah. I'm just like, dude, I don't know. He was like the type to be like, girls want to like say like that we're equal, but thanks for your government and your houses.
Wait, thanks for your what?
Like government and your houses. I just like, you think that that's because women didn't have rights? And we're not like.
Yeah, like if the government did come into our house, that's like, you were the government.
I hate when people say like a stupid argument that like doesn't. I'm just like, what is like that doesn't apply at all to like what you're saying.
I feel like
let's break that down. You dumb.
I feel like misogyny it's the same as any bigotry. I feel like there's a spectrum of like if you were to go to this side, if you go to one side, you're gonna have like kind of twerpy dudes that are probably real lefty that are like, I'm a feminist, whatever every girl says is right. I just want to make sure you're safe. I hold safe spaces, and they're like overly bent over.
Fucking empath boy that's like a fucking feminist.
Yeah, they're almost like using it for their own gain.
Yeah, I'm like, yiggers.
But I also like maybe they're not using their own gain, but they're like overly course corrected on like the feminist. Yeah. Like they're like, I don't want to be a masculine dude.
Like
right.
That feel this way. We're talking about that guy.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like, so if you have that on one spectrum, and then on the other side of the spectrum, you have a guy who is like, no, women are dumb. They need to raise a baby and stay in the kitchen, and they don't have value.
It's little things.
Yeah. But so those are two extremes. Yeah. And then you have something in the middle. But like, I do think that you might have somebody a little bit more on this side who's not a misogynist, but he still like believes way more in gender roles than the average feminist. Also, then that feminist would be like, dude, this guy's a misogynist, and I personally believe he's probably not a misogynist. He just wants a more traditional like archetype of the male and female gender role in like a marriage.
Is he as a person, but his statements and certain beliefs, if you were to be able to like fucking, parse that out, I think those would probably be misogynistic. If it was like, and maybe not like toxically so, where it is just
that's what I mean. I just think there are like levels
like
to
your paradigm to things. Because there are plenty of girls that are just like would be like, I just would like some man to be a man, take care of me. I'll hold it down.
Like I don't want to work.
All these like different ways, and it's like
we have friends like that.
Yeah, the only thing that I like worry about that though is like with a lot of friends, I'm like, okay, so you lock it down. You're like fucking 5-star like mom and wifey, right? You have like that has been your career is to run the household, raise your kids. That's fucking full-time work. but it does not go on a resume. And so then what happens if you do get divorced after that?
You need to take out his money and you better be rich.
I'm like, bitch, you better like be working on some passive residuals with your dual, like with his income first, that you can like say that you have a right of. Like after that, it's like, I don't, but the only thing that like I worry about in that situation is that like women aren't being protected then, you know?
I think that, oh, fuck, dude. I think I might get in trouble for this, but I think that you guys have the upper hand in this. Like, and I actually, okay, so
I would disagree from in all of my single like mother friends, but I think.
Well, yeah, I'm not I think I'm coming from a place of, I don't know, like this is like how I feel about it, but I don't actually know, because I do think that women have the lower hand in most areas of life. Like they have the the pros and cons are against them in most situations.
Women are often disregarded in like in seats of power.
Yes,
or, you know,
right, like businesses, politics, etc.
Like,
right,
or like, you know.
But I think this is one of the areas that they have the upper hand is divorce courts. Like most divorce always favors the women. Child courts for the most part. I'm not saying always, but for the most part. However, I do think that the girls that you know that split from guys, their dudes don't have anything to begin with, so they didn't.
Yeah, but it doesn't change their time that they devoted to their family, that they weren't building their own skill set and their own resume and their own fucking shit. That doesn't, like, just because they can't be supported by this like fucker like after.
Well, that's why I think that they probably should have that.
That makes me nervous for them. That's the only reason why I'm just like, oh, house mommy seems great, but.
This is actually this conversation is actually why I think that that's probably still better. Like you don't want to have like, because of our history where women always had the, like, they didn't even have voting rights till when, the 60s or whatever.
Yeah,
like
women's suffrage happened.
Like, so when people are like, women have the same rights as dudes, I'm like, yes, maybe, and maybe now. I'm more on the line of like, women have the same rights as men now, but it only just happened.
Yeah, no, that's like the echo of everything. I'm just like, you think that change is going to be instant recreation? No.
I agree. So I'm very on board with that. So if because of all that history, divorce favors the women, that's probably a good thing in the general sense. Like you can't, like every situation is different, right? Like I do feel for a guy who got half his shit taken from some bitch that really fucked him. Like I'm like, that sucks. But in general, that's probably a good thing that the women are given favorable treatment in this situation where they've always been the lesser. So, but I do think in the most part, they do get somewhat favor. And like watching my parents split, I was like, I hope dad doesn't listen, but I've always been on team mom, like the whole way through. My dad was cheating on my mom. Like, yeah, fuck, he deserved to get divorced. And then my mom was working 3 jobs to
your mom held it down for that, like,
for my dad's dream and all of his money, not even like just his hobby of the farm. All the money went out the window. She had to pay to keep things afloat the entire time. When they split, he was so upset that he had to pay out 180 grand or 200 grand or whatever. And he's just like, I have to pay for the farms twice. And I'm like, dude, she held it down for 30
like, but what did you not have to pay for that? Yeah, that is like 30 years about that. Yeah.
And then you're going to just, when you guys do divorce, she is expected to leave with nothing. No, like, so I'm 100% on my mom deserved that.
Yeah. Like, and it, like, for me, that has like very little to do with infidelity, because that, like, honestly, that is a huge thing in divorce court, where it's like, if you can like prove cheating and they are the one that stepped out, then you're the victim and you get like the settlement tends to like favor you like in higher value. And you know, but I don't think necessarily it like matters who cheated, because usually people cheat when they're unhappy, or it just happens because we're human.
Yeah, I think it's more because we're human.
I think people have affairs because they're unhappy. I think that people cheat because they're human.
Yeah, I'm still unsure about it. I read that book. I forget the name of the book. I met the author with Aubrey Marcus at that thing down in Texas. But she had her argument was that women cheat. When women cheat a lot of times not because they're unhappy. Actually, no, I don't even think it's women. I think it's all. But women, like guys are more likely to cheat anytime. Women are likely to cheat more after like 3 to 5 years with somebody, and they have like this internal clock that like they start itching for a new something. But her argument was that a lot of like they've done a lot of studies on. No, they've just done studies on cheating, and a lot of the people that they polled were like, I actually love my husband, like I don't want to leave them. I'm just not sexually satisfied. Like it's
or you
it's
are
more
you
like
just like
boredom.
like you want to spice it up or like
so there's all this like boredom and rhythm and like a rut over here. That doesn't mean they love them.
Yeah.
But there's this like rut, and it's like what you talked about where people that just have kids are like a lot of times likely to cheat, like guys, because they're just dad, and they want to be seen as man.
Yeah. Or like if you have a piece of shit boyfriend and they cheat and you're like, oh, why is this shitty guy? I love him. I'm trying so hard. I'm like, because you saw him as a piece of shit. And he knows you see you see him. And so he's gonna go find a girl that like believes his bullshit again.
Yeah.
Like they need that that validation. And I get that. Like when I like any one of my exes was cheating on me forever, and I was like, bitch. I'm not fucking you either.
I do think that people cheat because they are unhappy.
Sometimes.
I think that happens also.
But also like when
I do think people cheat when they are happy.
Yeah. I like when it's just understandable if you can like put your feelings aside and really step into their shoes and be like, okay, if I were them, is this a reasonable thing that happened? Can I understand what got them there? Does it mean any like most of the time, like if I have a disagreement or if I have a situation with anyone, I usually try to be like, okay, so was this for them or was it against me? And almost always it's for them. And then I'm like, how do I address that and make sure that like I realize like, hey, if I upset you, like that's for them because you did this, then let me like address that first. And then otherwise try to, care or address, like acknowledge at least like that or not care about it. If it's someone that I don't give a fuck about, then be like, that was for them, fuck them then. And then if it's about me, which then I'll internalize that. And almost all the time when I have to sit down with myself, I'm like, oh, why do you lash out? Or why was that so escalated? It's usually always about me,
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just oh, you wrote this narrative and then you fucking bought in.
Oh, dude, every time that I'm upset, or most times, it's almost always like an internal, like, oh, you got upset because you were feeling some sort of way because they hit this pressure point that you were already feeling, or
you were afraid of this, you feel this about that, you're
so I was this sparked me, but do you think that, so speaking of like non-monogamy, like with us, I personally believe, luckily most people don't listen to the end of this podcast. I personally believe like 90% of the people out there aren't monogamous. Or it's like the human tendency is to not be monogamous.
I feel like
how I don't mean to say like, I'm not trying to dictate the relationship styles yet, but I'm just saying in the general urge of things.
Do you think that like, so let me, let's do you think they're, and I'm going to split it up into 3 different things: polyamorous, polysexual, and then like hall pass monogamy, where it's just like these one-off situations that's like cool.
I think that 90% of the people are one of those things and 10% are monogamous.
Yeah. I think that most people would...
I just don't think that the natural tendency of humans is for one mate for life. I just don't think that is the human tendency.
I think that it's like if that's what you want to do and you're committed to that, and that's the commitment and the not contract, because that's not sexy, but if that's like what you're agreeing to,
monogamy is not
then
sexy.
then hell yeah, you can honor that, because that is a sacrifice of your carnal desires, and but otherwise you could experience conversion, I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, do you remember like when you're like, I thought about going out and flirting with so-and-so, and then you were asleep and she had gotten like bad dick and she like crawled into your bed.
Oh,
and it was like, damn, you don't have to work for that or anything.
Dude,
like,
she just crawled into my bed.
Yeah. Just a golf clap. But
you had conversion.
yeah, and I just like when I also was chasing that boy, and I was like, oh yeah, I hung out, and then I like lightly went like, wait, you got it, fuck yeah, girl, you know. That's also something that I think that people could experience if they open their minds about it a little bit more, because it doesn't mean less to like our relationship if we see anybody.
Yeah, what I'm saying is like all that, but what I'm saying is I think that 90% of the people are more like us than like them. The issue is it's tradition. Like it does go against our tradition, and that tradition comes from the very Judeo-Christian centric tradition. A lot of cultures didn't have that. Like even like in Africa, like Mia's that girl Mia I dated, she's from Liberia. And she's like, yeah, dad had 3 wives. Yeah. Like my mom was one of 3, and that was very common, even to this day. Like if you were to go backwards in time, the further back you go, the more and more it was more of a thing.
But so
we are very culturally monogamous.
But also, so like in our family structure, I think that speaks to a lot of it, because it is hard to when you think about like a polyamorous life, how does that look in a family home?
Yeah,
who has guardian paper, like all of that. And so since we've like really just done to like single family homes, I think that like it, because of our, the religious backing of our traditional like culture, I think that that makes more sense. But back in the day when you had to have big ass farms, you had to have a fucking multiple wives, to have multiple sons, to fucking do all the work,
and pre-farming,
like that is like all, like you had to have fucking people to do your shit.
Yes. So what I'm saying is like I understand where it comes from, but that like you don't
modern families now.
But but what I'm saying is like we like maybe it's just the contrarian in me, but as a person, I don't need to go along with the system just because the system worked for a certain amount of people in a certain time period. Yeah. And like the way I view monogamy is the way I view friendship or love. Like is like in life, I treat lovers almost like friends. Where I'm like,
both,
they should be both. But what I'm saying is like because I love you, that doesn't mean I tell you what to do. And also that doesn't mean that because I love you, I can't love anybody else.
Yeah.
And like I've always once I discovered this, and even before I did, I kind of understood, just because I love somebody, that like the idea of like putting my dick somewhere else doesn't negate the fact that I like love somebody so dearly. Yeah. It is a human like thing that I feel. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a cute girl. Yeah. I also want to hang out with her.
Yeah, and have love for them. And
right. It doesn't pull away from anything.
Yeah, it's just like love is limitless, and connection, it should be like very authentic. And so like how like you're gonna like cut down all these bridges for the sense of propriety that like that aren't actually disrespectful in the end.
Yeah.
And like with non-monogamy, I feel this is the healthiest, happiest relationship that I've ever had. Like this has set the bar so high for anybody that like, if,
What did I say? I was gentle boyfriend too.
Yeah, when you're just like, I think that you're like your most gentle boyfriend. I'm like, fucking hands down.
Yeah.
But like we have so much fun. Our communication is so good. Like we do really, really well with that. And like there's any time to like have if there's any like moment of strife or just like stress or like whatever, I do really think that we like, all right, let's get back on track. Let's take a moment to like really, fix this. And it's like you see it, like the change in it. But I don't know. It's the best.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Oh, circle back. I do hate it when fucking bitches are just like, oh, he loves you because you let him fuck other people. And I'm like, do you not realize that like they're really like, how does that work in like any other fucking relationship? But we just also hang out with other people.
Yeah. See, the thing that I dislike about it, this statement, I understand where that comes from, but the idea that you love somebody for one particular thing, like, yes, that is one thing I like about you. or love. And I probably wouldn't be with you if you didn't. But that is like,
it's gonna work otherwise.
yes. But but like, why would you not? Like, most people would have a acceptable list of like hard lines. They're like, I want a guy who believes the same as me, like religion or politics,
or wants to have kids, doesn't want to have kids.
Yeah, exactly. So like if you went into a relationship and be like, oh shit, this guy wants to have kids, he has a good job, he's funny, he does this and this, you can't go up to that girl and be like, go up to that guy and be like, she only likes you because you want kids and you have money.
When you hand in a resume, do you have one fucking statement on your fucking
and then
thing?
You're gonna shit on somebody
do you have
for
an entire
meeting
work experience and skills list?
Well, like you're gonna shit on them for meeting the skills list that you wanted in the first place. So like this is one of the things that I want. Like for sure. But I would say it's like, he only likes you because you're hot.
It's really
I'm like, well, he does like me because I'm hot.
Yeah, that's
yes, that is a thing that he
also,
likes.
Yeah.
Also,
other
that's
things.
Not the only thing.
And also other things.
Yeah, it's one of 20 things.
It's really just like belittling of the relationship, and I do like. There's a lot of pushback when people instantly defend like monogamy, and I'm like, dude, I didn't even say anything about it. You asked me what the nature of like my relationship was, and we're just like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing.
I feel like
this is how I believe and why, and I'm like, cool, man.
Yeah,
that seems good for you.
I feel like I got used to that when I left religion.
Yeah.
So like I felt like every time that I would defend why I left religion, people were like, I just don't understand why you don't think that Jesus is your Lord and Savior. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't believe it because of this and this. Like, how dare you attack my religion? I'm like, I was just answering your question.
Dude. Like, I didn't.
So I already got used to that.
Yeah.
So then when people are like, why don't you think that? Like, don't you think that they normally come to you with like, not to you, proverbial. Yeah. But like people are like, well, once you find the right girl, you'll realize that.
Even like so whenever.
And so then I'm like,
we have a couple of friends that are just like, oh yeah, Josh will settle down. I'm like, I don't think that. Like, just so you know, I am also like I am like built to have like consistent like like whatever like relationships, like quality time relationships. So I feel like that looks like monogamy to other people. I'm like, but I also find people interesting,
Yeah. So when I'm saying no, it's right on point, because like when I'm saying that I don't want, like, I think it's just so outside the worldview. Yeah. You're like, it's like, if people eat brain in another culture, you're like, well, here's why I don't eat brain. And then you see somebody eat brains, you're like, well, here, let me explain why you shouldn't eat brain, or like, it goes against, like, I don't think that.
Relativism.
Right. And so when I tell somebody that this is how I am, that it goes against everything that they're trained to know about relationships. So like, well, once you find the right girl, like you won't want to be with other girls. That's how this is my worldview. This is how I know things.
We were talking about that like earlier, like in the podcast too, like when you're just like, okay, so when you think like, this is how I think, you push that paradigm on everyone, and that's the lens you see in, and you're just like,
and then you're like, well, once you convert to the way that I think, and I'm not saying that like you can't like go away from a certain worldview and then come back, but I'm like, yeah, I had been in that worldview. And I also like when I first discovered non-monogamy was way after I felt like I was estranged from my upbringing, because I knew that I was supposed to find this one person, and I'm supposed to marry somebody, and I'm supposed to have this thing. And I had that like trajectory. And every time I would meet somebody, I would think, well, why am I still having feelings for other people? Or why am I still attracted over here? And then I would think, I'm fucked up. So I remember for years, I thought, there's something wrong with me, because I can't meet somebody and then it fulfills this one thing for me. And everybody else says, once I find the one person, it's going to fix everything. And I always felt I don't have that. And once I discovered like a community where like, oh, this is a real thing where you don't have to do that. And I was like, oh.
And just like that, like when you think about that mindset, because that doesn't like I didn't grow up religious, and I like even though it was like pretty strict and like I don't know, whatever, like I still like that's wild to me because I've always understood that like sex sells. Everyone like there's a reason why everybody's hot on TV, you know? Like so to just deny that and to feel ashamed about your feelings like afterwards, that's like that oppression is nuts. I usually see the good things about religion because I grew up outside of it, so I didn't feel any of like the, you know, the guilt or the shame or the oppression or the, you know, any of that. I was just like, oh, their community is dope. Like the Mormons, the network that they have is amazing. Like when they move into like fucking entire developments together and how their kids like grew up together and then do it like I don't know. Everything is about community, and I love that.
Yeah, I still have a lot of guilt and shame. You know what's crazy is growing up in like the culty guilt and shame. Yeah. Like I had more guilt and shame for like sex and like sexual desires.
I love that you're a little slut now. On like that's.
Yeah, I'm like, did that make that hotter for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, oh shit, all the shit that I thought that was like guilt and shame. Now I'm like, holy shit, my dick's.
You're bringing in freedom every single time that you're like being a little hoe, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like if you didn't realize that, I'm like, that's like one of the first things that I don't know.
Hell yeah. No, I'm into that. But what I'm saying is I still live in guilt and shame. I just like, I feel like I transferred it from that to like guilt and shame for, productivity. Like what, oh my God, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I'm not being enough. I have to pee really quick. We should take a break.
Yes. That is something that I,
guilt and shame.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about this when we get back. Oh. Guilt and shame. Remember this.
All right. After potty break.
What were we talking about before?
So we were going to touch on like guilt and shame cycles. Yeah. And then what we were in the like kind of the meaty parts of like non-monogamy.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't like to call it like just for the record. And I think it's because of the Boise poly community. Sorry if somehow this gets to you. But I'm just like, dude, I don't want to be affiliated with people that do. Nice. I would do like I don't want to like have like a sex party where it's all just very political, like socially political. Or just like, ew.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem hot. I want to get drunk and accidentally fall. You know,
dude. The thing that I don't like about it. Well, there's a couple things, but the poly community is weird and gross to me. And I can't always put my finger on it, but part of me is like, I fucking hate the terminology.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't mind the term polyamorous. That makes sense. Like,
when you're talking about
logistically, okay, I get it. Multiple lovers makes sense. But there's this need for everybody to like over terminalize everything and just lean so into this culture. Yeah. And it's like vegans to me.
It becomes like
it's just like identity. I'm this and oh my God, and if you're not, I don't know. I'm like, gross.
Yeah, becomes like their only fucking thing they talk about. It's like crypto guy or like whatever.
Yes.
Like, no matter what
like
it is,
crypto guy.
It's just like is the thing that they talk about all the time. Like, well, nice, cool. Now we're moving on to a different, topic. Yes. No, we're not. Yeah. All right.
You're like, have you met my there's like a term there's a term for my lover's partner and then my lover's partner's lover. And that is called this. It's almost like pronouns to me. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Like, I just unicorns. I'm like, that's cute. I'm just like,
I don't think that's a polyamorous term.
Yeah, let me be a free running wild unicorn. Yeah.
Unicorns to me actually
a stable
I like.
With an open gate, please.
I guess maybe I'm being hypocritical because I do like the term unicorn, but I don't think that's like a poly. Maybe it is. But I do think it also seems like a label for anyone. Like we got the thing that we couldn't get. It's like the thing that is like elusive.
it's just like any badge of, social whatever. Like, you're just gonna rep it super hard. Like, these are my colors. This is my fucking vibe. I shop at Hot Topic. I'm a fucking gang member. It's like everyone just like reps whatever they have,
right. Yeah. So there are these
also,
things.
Poly people are generally, it's only one person that's super into it. I feel like if it's like the poly couple, I'm like, oh, you're just getting drug along, and you.
That's okay. So that's why. Speaking of that, that's why in threesomes, girls feel like if you are the unicorn, you're like, oh, okay. So for those who don't know, if you're having a threesome, the unicorn is the one that the couple gets, or she's like the
third.
Yeah, the third. But a lot of times they're pretty like they have reservation, or they're fearful because like there's so many couples that are trying to get a third that it's really just the dude.
And a lot of
dude's
times,
trying to get it, or maybe it's the girl.
And a lot
of
times, if you were to have a first like threesome like experience, like it's like same trip reports or sex reports from like like ladies, but it's usually just the guy feeding his ego, like, yeah, I gotta fuck these two bitches, and then they're like just taking turns, feeling bad about themselves, feeling awkward, like while this guy just feels like pass himself on the dick,
Well, I've heard so many stories like that where like a girl's like, dude, I'm not gonna have a threesome again because the last time I had one, my dude like ignored me, and all he did
really
was
hurt someone's feelings, and you get fucked because of it. And now
they're like, I finally said yes to us fucking somebody else together, and then the only reason he wanted to fuck someone else together was because he just wanted to fuck someone else, and he just completely ignored her. And
it was all about him. He never like and protected that space or made it sexy for like his partner.
I've heard so many people be like, yeah, dude, there's it could go really bad as a threesome, and I've never had a bad threesome.
I've had bad threesomes. Like when I was younger, I've only had a couple where it's like, this sucks, and it just like wasn't about it. And there's actually more like guys that like would like want to like Eiffel Tower or whatever. I had way more opportunity to do guy when I was like younger.
They're just now. Ignoring you.
Like I feel like now guys are like kind of leaned into their sexual preferences, and before it was more of a like frat boy, just like, yeah, what's up, brother? We're fucking doing this girl, high five,
Like, pay attention to me, and they're just paying attention to each other.
Yeah, they're just like congratulating each other on being, very.
They're like, we're gonna go smoke a cigarette. Will you just stay here?
Yeah, it's very awesome. They're just like, you're dope. Hell yeah, you're dope.
Hey, we're gonna take a break, but will you just stay here and we're gonna hang out together?
Yeah.
What are the guys?
So sometimes I feel like they're like, for a while, a lot of bisexual men were into me. Like when I was like 20, like I had 4 that were chasing him. Like, it made me feel weird about myself.
You're like, am I a dude like?
Am I? Yeah, I'm just like, why am I this?
You don't still feel that way, right?
No.
Yeah, because I have a lot of bisexual girls that are into me.
Yeah, bisexual girls like me. Bisexual boys like me.
Well, I appreciate bisexual
Some straight girls like me. Lots of straight boys are curious. None of them like me because I don't talk to them enough.
I like, speaking of threesomes, like when we have like the girls that we're into, I personally prefer girls that are more into girls.
Yeah.
Because and maybe this is just a comfortability thing, but going back to that original topic of I don't want my girl to think that I'm just trying to have sex with this other girl and not her. I would prefer like there's none of that. There's no even potential confrontation. Like no, this girl is way more into you than me because like it doesn't bother me at all. And it like,
most of the time,
if a girl was way more into me and like you were there on the side, then I would start getting in my head like, dude, like I don't want Cinda to feel this certain way. Yeah. And
most of the time, I'm like, let your girl go fucking hunt for the girls. If you want to have like good threesomes that are super sexy, no drama, let your girl go like hunt for the girls. That you know that I'm better at just being like, hi, let's talk for a bit. Let me never see you again because I am bad at like taking numbers. So
I'll get to know them.
I do like that you're more on the prowl because that's
Dude, if you're gonna get if any dudes are listening at this point of this podcast, this is the time to tune in because we're gonna teach you how to threesome.
Yeah, can I give the best threesome advice ever? Okay, so when you're talking about awkward threesomes and why they suck, because it's usually just like feeding someone's ego, making someone feel weird and insecure and awkward. There should be 2 people fucking one person the entire time. If it's 2 girls and one guy, just like, oh my god, we're just like gonna have so much fun together, just like pleasing this dude. And then if it's some girl, just like, you're queen, like we're gonna just worship you the entire time. Everyone has a partner, so then you feel like that type of vibe where it's just like we're having fun together, we're on a team, we're doing it, we're like making this person feel great together. And then otherwise you're the person feeling great, so everyone is included the entire time.
And it includes the team members. So like that's why
it like you want something to be not scary and intimidating, and like you want it to be friendly and
also if you cozy. Speaking of, like, if you were like if you're a girl and your dude wants to have or if you both want to have a threesome with another girl, but then you're nervous, what if he's into her more than me, right? It's common fear, right? Like, what if blah blah blah. It's like, so that is it's a really good it's a good way to look at the situation. So instead of thinking, what if my guy wants to be with her more than me?
He's more turned on by.
It's more we are going to both.
We're a unit. We're
we're a team. We're gonna make her feel really good, or we're gonna like blow her mind, or we're gonna make her world, or we're gonna create this experience for her. And then
instead of competition is like teamwork.
And so when because almost everybody that I've talked to ever that was opposed to threesomes was always like, well, I can't share, or like, I can't imagine seeing my dude fuck another girl. And the thing that, like, if this is a thing that you're remotely interested in, you're not watching your dude fuck another girl. You're helping your dude fuck another girl.
Also, sometimes it's nice to be like, I'm gonna sit over here and watch.
Yeah, if that's what you're into, for sure.
Also, another pro tip: if you're a girl and you want to make the other girl feel comfortable, just like sit back for a second and be like, "Damn, you look good when my dude's fucking you."
Yeah,
and it like levels everything. It's like makes it very comfortable after that, and it's usually fucking true.
Also, so I would like to a statement for dudes. I swear I should teach a course on this, because. Do you remember when fucking Paul was just like, I don't understand how Josh has had so many threesomes and I haven't. And I'm like, I don't know either, but
you don't get what you don't ask for most of the time. Because how would and you like, it's nice that you put it out there. Like, this is what I like. Because then people are like, oh, did she?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So that's the first thing.
You have to write to Santa with a Christmas list. You know what I mean? To get
I made a point. I don't remember when I learned this, but like, because I made a point in my life where I was like, I'm not going to date a straight girl. Like, I will only date bisexual girls. And I didn't know that until I dated a bisexual girl.
I'm like, oh, this is easy.
I'm like, oh, this is nice. But I didn't even know that that was like what the thing was that I was into. But I did discover that along the way. But like, trying to take the person that you're dating and convert them into a bisexual girl, if they're not, like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if you know, hey, it's like, hey, I'm not going to date somebody who's on a different religion than me. Like, it is a
foundational,
it's one of the things that I'm looking for in a person. I'm like, I don't want to date a
there are like
devout Christian.
Some things would be like, oh, agree to disagree, but there are some things that are like foundational. Kids, religion, Viking,
Yeah, so like, I can only date a bisexual girl. I can't date a girl that doesn't give head.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, if you think that's gross, that's fine for you. Like, I don't need to convince you that it's not gross. I need you to go find a guy who doesn't like his dick.
Yeah, everybody works like,
Yeah, like, there's plenty of girls that don't want to give head. I get that. I don't get it, but I understand that they exist.
There are people for people.
But I also have I have some friends that don't like their dick sucked. That's also fine. So then you guys find each other. Like,
Yeah, or like,
there's no problem with what your likes are. Find the people that
exactly. That's like a lot of times when people like try to find a reason, or they have to wait for a reason to break up with somebody.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm pretty quick to dip. I'm like, communication's bad.
Yeah,
This is like,
yeah.
we don't line up on these things. I'm like, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, that said, back up 30 seconds.
So,
What are we like things we're looking for? Bisexual girls and threesomes.
Yeah.
So,
because they want
oh,
it.
okay. So that's kind of like the preliminary thing, but a lot of people don't know that's even what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And then like it's become a little more acceptable in modern culture.
But it seems very taboo still, or extreme.
It's
like,
still
it's
very taboo.
Like very counterculture.
Yeah.
In most, you know.
But if I were to talk to, I just quit.
It's like when people have something to say against it, most of the time they're like, oh, I can't see my person like fucking another person. I can't share. And of course, like we're so good at like talking those things out, and you've always listened and been just like,
yeah, also,
immediately
we've never
like,
seen
yeah,
that, yeah.
You've been very sensitive immediately when I'm just like, oh, I'm feeling a little insecure about this hits on this, or, you know, again, just say that. Because if you don't recognize it instantly, then it's like, it's going to grow bigger and bigger. And then it doesn't give you the right to respond, you know, like, well, and with care. And so we do that well. But everyone gets insecure. Bisexual chicks, though, it is easy. And I like pretty much maintained for the longest time, just like, I'm a straight girl that just like likes to fuck girls. So heteroflexible.
Yeah.
Now there's, you know.
Yeah, like you haven't dated a girl.
No, I've like seen girls, but like once I realized that, I'm just like, oh, this is like getting very relationship. I like usually bail because I'm like I'm not gonna say that I'll never date like a woman like in a serious relationship, but I can't really see that because as much as I'm like, fuck gender roles, they don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
I'm just like, he's gonna take out the trash and drive.
Hold on, I gotta
fucking
pee.
boy work.
Sorry. I turn it back on, then I had to pee.
Boy work though. Shoveling the snow.
Oh, babe.
Packing up the tent. Filling up the paddle boards. That's just boy work. I hate taking out the trash.
You what?
I hate taking out the trash. It is like one of those things that, like, you know, is like minimal adulting. It's like one of the first chores you have as a child. And I hate it. My roommates take out the trash all the time, and I do their dishes probably 75% of the time.
Say that again.
So my roommates, I never take out the trash. I've taken out like the big trash maybe 3 times since they've lived there for a year and a half. But I do their dishes almost, you know, they don't make a lot, but if I'm cleaning one, then I just like to use the soap out of the sponge. That's like how mine.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know.
Get in the kitchen, do those dishes.
Yeah, I actually do like doing dishes.
Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, we should probably wrap this up, but
might be just before
anyway.
This might just be for a little short or a reel.
Oh yeah. Dude, I did feel myself like towards the end of this. I'm like, ooh, I'm drunk.
Yeah. So when you take a little break from something that I like, when I do, then I become hyper aware of like how I'm feeling from anything. And just like, ooh, I'm a little stoned right now. Yeah. I'm super high, or just like a little buzzed, and just like now you're losing, you know. I noticed last night, I was just like, oh, your eyes are darting a lot more. And then I'm like, you're like jumping off the stair or like the stool. Like,
do you think that's like
distribution was different?
Do you think that are you hyper aware because you took 3 months off, or just because your first time back? Or do you think you're hyper aware? I guess that's the
60-40 split. like a little bit of both, because I'm like, oh, I'm drinking for the first time, and then I was like a little bit more
because I was
pressure.
monitoring myself pretty heavily. I was like in my internal, like, are you drunk? Are you slurring? Are you?
Yeah, I think that if we hadn't been working, also, we probably would have been a little less cognizant of that.
Oh,
or
yeah.
like, like self-aware, but not hyper-aware.
Dude, I was so happy that I worked though, because first off, I'm like, I didn't spend $300 and I made $300. So I was like, oh, yeah.
Reel it back too. I feel like those are those things where in the past we've been like, fuck no, I just did this. I'm gonna definitely, take the excuse to rage.
Yeah.
And so just doing little things like that's like been I don't know if that's from 75 hard, but choosing to do 75 hard was a like change of,
Yeah. Well, today,
functions.
Like today was a planned drinking day. Like I was talking to my therapist, Michaela, about shout out Michaela. I wonder if I'll see her at Tree Fort. That'd be funny. I was talking to her about drinking and just because obviously we're hyper aware of the mental and all the stuff.
Yeah, we've had a lot of time of reflection. And also we're
and she's like, you came to therapy on the presupposition that I drink too much and blah blah blah. So this will be interesting, like excursion into all this stuff. Yeah. But she's like, yeah, I know that you haven't drank in all this time, and I know you want to be better on the average, but I also expect that you're probably gonna like make up for lost time a little. Like, yeah, for sure. Like I'm planning on, like I was planning on today.
Enjoying your good time.
Like we're gonna get drunk today. I was planning on last night, and then I'm planning on Tree Fort. And so she also like kind of verbalized. She's like, yeah, I would imagine that you would overindulge through this time
because you have a nice little treat instead.
But then she also said, she's like, I am curious if you will find if you notice any moments of you having self-control even in these overindulgent periods like Tree Fort, like if you find yourself, or she's like, I'll be curious to see if
self-talk,
if you're drinking through Tree Fort and you're like, yeah, no, I'm actually good right now, I don't need to drink 5 more shots on Thursday in Tree Fort. Just because it's a festival doesn't mean I have to. I was like, oh, that's a good point. I was like, yeah, maybe I will think about
just a little more restraint instead of just
I don't know, or maybe I won't.
And then maybe a little bit of both. Yeah, but I do like the designation of time, because I do think that's when I have historically just like when I've gone off the rails, it is because I'm seeking escapism, and I'm like the drugs, alcohol is like socializing. That's the car that I'm in, but it's the rails I'm going off of, Yeah. Because I'm just like, fuck, whatever.
I just think that,
but you like have,
but sometimes
things, it's better.
Sometimes I think it is like it's the ride you're on.
Wow.
Like you signed up for the triple backflip roller coaster. So why would we not do the triple backflip?
Yeah.
Like we signed up for this.
Don't half-ass a good time.
So sometimes I think that is part of my decision making. I'm like, well, we're getting drunk, so why wouldn't I get drunk as fuck?
Yeah, and I don't drink just to like have a drink. I drink to get drunk. But
why? But on the counter argument, it's like you don't have to always assume that every evening is a sign up for that triple roller coaster. You could decide, actually, I'm having a really good time. I don't need to have the triple. Maybe I just have the double or the single or the
avoiding the adrenaline come down by just keep on signing, like getting, keep on like being on the roller coaster instead. Yeah. And like eventually you're gonna have to get off and like, did you already ride the ride?
Yeah.
That's like the difference.
Or do we want to ride again?
I definitely had to like self-talk myself and just be like, I've had a lot of come to Jesus, come to self, come to whatever, moments. But like when the only time that I've ever like talked to you about your dream, which is like, are you still having fun? Because I just like, it was like I want everyone to have a good time all the way through their decisions, and just like, if you're not having a good time, like maybe you were the first night that you drank, but now it's just like keeping it up. And so that you don't feel shitty. And like, that's not, I want you to enjoy drinking and have fun drinking. And we do,
I mean, me too, but also the only, the only pushback I would still have that, I guess, against myself is I still can't drink as much as I have a good time, because if I drink and have a good time, or if I say yes to it as long as I'm having a good time, that's still going to be 90% more than I should.
Yeah.
Because I have a good time most
and
times.
And you're such a, like, you hold it together really well, so you're not causing any problems. You're like, you like function like very, very well wasted.
And I'm good.
Which is,
and I most times are having a good time. Like that period of time, like in my life, I wasn't.
That was very brief. And
but
like,
I still can't have that as the bar. Like,
and you see it like you see your life down the line. They're not
just
like,
that's
this
still,
week is good. This month is good.
I'm drinking too much.
You're like, what is the next 10 years going to be? And I do love that about you.
We can't be doing that.
Yeah, you've shifted that like personal. We've been talking a lot about like lenses and paradigms, but that has been one of like the new things that I've adopted in our 3 years of knowing each other is just like, how am I going to be when I'm old? What am I going to, what is that going to look like?
Yeah.
How am I going to,
well, also I think like for us
60, 70, 80.
I don't think that most 20-year-olds think about it because it's so far away. Yeah. But that's why like people hit midlife crisis. And I mean, like, I think that's why I'm thinking about it more, because like as you age, you think about it more because you're like, oh yeah, am I just fucking off in my entire life and like my ability to function and move and
you stop becoming, you start sustaining,
like,
and then you start like having deficits.
What am I like?
And,
I just think you start thinking more long term too.
Yeah, you start seeing your age, like
what are we doing? Like
your wear and tear is like visible after it. It's like a car. You're like, oh, fucking first 100,000 miles.
Maybe I should change my oil.
But like, after that, you're like, damn it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about communication because we wrote it down. No, I want so
we're the best.
Yeah. Everybody else sucks, and we are better than.
You might be pretty good, but we are like top notch at communicating with each other.
I do think that we're pretty good about it.
Yeah.
So the one thing when I was growing up, my parents are really bad at communication. I would say extremely bad. And then as I got older, I realized that most people from the fucking 60s, 70s were bad at communication.
Emotionally closed down.
Yeah, and so it's like the generation.
Yeah.
And so, because a lot of times me and my sister talk about it, and they're like, our family's especially bad. I'm like, I don't know if it's our family. I really do think it's more the generation. Yeah. I'm not, but there are times where I meet people that are really good with communication, like Benny and Charlie and like their kids and stuff. I'm like, holy fuck, like the open dialogue.
They healed me. Like
it's crazy.
Yeah, knowing them, he healed me. Like,
Shout out Benny Charlie.
Yeah, just by existing around them, I was like, holy fuck, this is.
But the one thing, really the one point that I learned that I don't think I've expressed on the podcast, but the idea of communication is like I'm like, okay, so if you have like communication is the soul of a relationship.
Yeah.
You have like more importantly than almost anything else is the ability to communicate.
Yeah.
And originally when I was told that, I was like in college or high school, and then I'm just like, okay, so you have to like conversate, like, how's your day, and ask them about what.
It seemed more like
surface level, I guess,
or just
for me.
like dutiful instead of like.
And now I was like, oh no, you have to communicate, feel it, like, for example, I didn't understand. It took me till like 4 years ago to understand that in sex, you need to communicate what you want in bed. And I didn't know how to do that. So when a girl wasn't giving me what I wanted in bed, I just assumed that she didn't
like it.
Or like, I was just like, well, she doesn't like me because she hasn't initiated this thing. It's like, when you decide that somebody should be able to know what you want.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, he should know already, and I want a guy who knows already.
Yeah, you're looking for this like one like action or whatever.
And instead, you're just that's actually you're not communicating what you want.
Yeah.
I get that you want him to read your mind, but he's not reading your mind, and so you should be able to tell him.
It's not. I heard.
And
this
when I
quote,
say him, I mean like
anyone.
Yeah, anyone. Yeah.
I heard this quote that's the unspoken expectations that we hold are tomorrow's bitterness.
You
bitter
just sent
moments.
me that. It's
and
so
I'm
good.
just like, dude, that's so good because I'm just like, I think that boundaries are really they're like held up, and then it is like what word did we just say? Expectations are just like that's like shat on a lot, and dude, I think that expectations are really really good. Again, the 3 rules: don't lie to me, don't respect me, don't if you're tired of me, don't hang out with me. Like those are expectations. Yeah, like hey, come correct. Like just don't like love me, be a bit like cherish me, and just like have respect for me. Those are expectations that I hold everyone. They don't have to be like this or that or like this moment in this situation. They're not about details. But then there's the other like boundaries are very hard lines where I'm like this or that. I know I never bug someone after that like 10 days. I never do this or that. I never blah blah. And I think that those are more harmful because a boundary is just like a line where like you have to keep yourself safe, but like boundary keeps you out from everything else too. Yeah. And so even though you're protecting yourself, you're also limiting yourself. Yeah. And so I would rather expect to go out in the world and be safe. I'd rather, expect to be happy. I'd rather expect to, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess boundaries. Yeah, I think that's correct. Huh. I think you need boundaries, but they have to be healthy, and you can't always put boundaries on everything.
Yeah. I think that we worked in part so well because we really respect each other's freedom and, and each other's boundaries. You're always very sensitive and aware, and I do that as much as you do. I have more feel sometimes.
Thank you. Oh no, what I wanted to say. Okay, so the point I wanted to make on this conversation, which is something I haven't really brought up or I would like to bring up. So communication. So, most people think, or at least me, and I would assume it's most people, but I guess it's just me. But I'm like, okay, so communication is how good are you at communicating your feelings?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's part of it. I'm not disregarding that. But so if you upset me, I need to communicate that. Hey, you're upsetting me. That thing you did in public, that the way that you looked at, like, some people will be like, the way that you looked at that guy that you're attracted to, I'm communicating that I dislike that. Yeah. And so a lot of times my view of communication was I need to get good at telling how I feel to my lover. And so that is part of it. But the thing that I think that people miss about communication is the receiving part of communication. Yeah. And this is what we talked about when we first started dating, and that we really realized. And I think our relationship was the first time that I really realized it. But it's not just how you communicate your feelings with the other person. It's how you create a canvas for them to give the communication.
Yeah.
Because if I create a combative reception, and so, for example, you want to tell, like, say we're in a monogamous relationship, and you want to tell me, hey, I was hanging out with this friend, and like it got a little weird or whatever, and then I felt, and then if when you say that, then I'm like, if all I do is combat you and be like, well, what were you doing there in the first place?
Yeah.
Why didn't you do this? This upsets me that you did this. And if all I do is come at you with aggression, you are going to naturally feel, I don't think that I should share.
Yeah, you're not creating a space of safety or just like of like free like expression or just like communication. Yeah. You're just like, oh shit, this is bad. Like, yeah.
It's like, I don't even think it works just with relationships. It's like with parents.
Yeah,
it's
everything.
Like it's like actually for parents everyone. Is a really good example because it's just like, okay, so the first time you tried weed, I want you to tell me. But if you tell me, I'm going to spank you and ground you and scold you.
Like hell's gonna rain. Yeah.
Like then they're not going to tell you. Right. So you need to somehow figure out a way to create. Like I understand that you don't want them to smoke weed. But if they smoke weed and tell you, that's a huge leap in communication for them. If you create a space where you're like, you're fucked, you did it bad, you should never do that again, I'm going to punish you, they're going to remember that and think, well, the next time I do a bad, I am not going to communicate.
Yeah, that's how it,
So communication is the receiving part too, where it's like, okay, let me figure out a way to receive this hard news.
Yeah.
I didn't like that they smoked weed, or I didn't like that she did this thing with this dude.
But I'm happy that they said something. We're having a conversation about it.
And I am happy that she's communicating to me, so I can't just push back immediately and be like, fuck you. So those are my best ways of saying it, as drunk as I am. But like creating spaces like where, like, when I hear something from you that irritates me or whatever, my initial reaction might be, well, why didn't you do this? Push back. But a good communication would be like, let her just talk, let her express her feelings, and then realize that if I want her to express her feelings in the future, I can't just create a space where I fight her every time she expresses that. I want to be like, okay, well, thank you for telling me that. Like, I'm gonna sit with this, or I'm gonna figure this out.
Yeah, and if you need a little space, like you've taught me that, where I'm just like, hey, and like I like that. As a fixer type of like style person, I'm just like, no, we're gonna just talk this shit out. But a lot of times it is good to have like a moment to like pause. But I do like when like, hey, we're gonna see each other on this, tomorrow or in a couple of days. Like, I don't know. That's been super helpful. And we like barely argue, but I always think that it's a power up afterwards. It's not like I like want tribulation between us, but I do think that every time that we have like a little a moment of we have to figure this out, it's just like back on his foot after that. And I love that. The one thing with communication that I wanted to talk about before is like when as I interrupt you as you're going to talk, is when people like if you I think that most of the time we get overly obsessed with the details, and then it just becomes tit for tat a lot of times. Like, you did this, I did that, this is why I'm fucking right, this is what you did, and validates my fucking actions, and none of that fucking matters. So if you really like look at like, okay, why did this happen? Why did you cheat on me? Why did you fucking lie? Why did this happen? Why did you like say these hurtful things? Where was your mind at? Then it is way easier to handle it. Because if it is a situation of infidelity, then it's just like, okay, so are you feeling unsatisfied somewhere? You need to feel, you need to get like a fucking high five as a man because you're not getting it at home. You're just not like feeling like whatever. If it's because like the other person feels, I don't know, taken for granted for, just like, okay, what is that? What are these actions? And you can talk about them instead of being like, you fucking didn't, you just were on your phone the entire time or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But people talk about details too much.
Yeah. Well, and I think that once you get lost in the sauce of the anger, I think that's why I believe that you should let the anger dissipate.
Yeah.
And I think it's contrarian to how I was raised, because there's a Bible verse that says, "Don't let the sun go down upon your wrath." So you're supposed
finish it.
You're supposed to work out your problems before you go to bed at night. It is like the moral of the story. But I, in a lot of times, have felt. I think the opposite is true in relationships that I've had. Like, if I try to fix things when I'm still angry, I end up coming at it with anger. Like, I haven't had a night to sleep on it, and like a dream cycle and all
reflection.
Like, and just to be able to come out the fresh side and be like, hey, let me come at this with fresh eyes. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's like when I record music and then I have to like take a step back and then listen to it again. I'm like, oh, I like found all these new things to look at. And if I were to like try to fix a problem when I'm already angry, I'm still coming at it with anger. I need to take that, like, I like to take that night Like, let me sleep on it. Let me step away. Like, can we just take a break?
I would argue that that's the solution. It's not like the fix to all, but that it like for the, you know, don't let your, whatever the Bible verse is with the sun.
Yeah.
Just like that is the solution. Sometime is some time. And again, I'm a fixer. Sometimes it like stresses me out. I'm just like, yeah. And, but like, I have all these things to say. And then, so I've just been, I'm getting back in the habit of writing, you know, to myself a lot more than trying to figure it out in time. Because a lot of, you know, I heard it that your emotional response takes about 90 seconds to like dissipate. So like any of it. And then after that, you're like building on the narrative. So whatever the storyline, good or bad. And so that's what I've been trying to do with a lot of different like friendships that I've had some altercations with, or just social situations, like doing, you know, understanding how like to do like relationships and like I say, you know, what is happening, you know, and just like, what do you think is happening? What is your fear-based reality? And what is, you know, like, you're just upset because you're afraid you're going to be upset. Yeah. Most of the time, you know?
Yeah. I feel like most times the way that the way that the relationship goes is the way that you project the relationship to go in the first place.
Yeah.
Like if you go into the situation being like in a fear-based reality and oh well they are looking at me as this such and I feel this way, you are going to create that's why I think the fear-based reality in relationships dictates the relationship. Like my relationships don't work past 6 months, so nobody loves me past 6 months. So that means that once people get to know me after 6 months,
I'm not worthy of
they find out that I'm not worthy. And so then the more you say that, and then I say it to the next person, I speak it over their life,
like,
I speak it over to my life.
Let me see things crumble.
And then they're like, okay, well, things are about to crumble. Yeah. And then you start looking for the signs that they're going to crumble. So let me look for all the reasons why he's already pulling away, or she. And then I'm looking for, and then you start pushing that on the relationship, and then they're like, what the fuck? And
it's like spoiling when you think that something's going to turn out bad and then you ruin it. And they're like, I knew this shit was going to work out. It's like a self-created, like a manifestation.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
That's how I'm able to manifest sluts, because I'm like, I bet you like this thing and this thing and this thing.
Yeah.
At this point in time, and then they're like, how dare you, but also
curious.
The power of suggestion.
No, I do think that just to circle back on that, I do love how well we communicate, and I think that there's in 3 years you're gonna have like a moment. So when we were first like dating, we got a little bit more meaty and like, you know, like I don't know, whatever.
Less than surface.
Yeah. Then we communicated extra, I think. And then it's that like comfortable play where we're like, oh, we don't need to say everything. But I do like that we've like recognized that, like, not even when we're doing poorly, just like people should do that when things are good. Like a car, like if you maintain it. I think that like there's a book that talks about like their car being a relationship.
Yeah.
Just like get the oil change and fill it up with gas. You're gonna go on a road trip. You want to make this bitch reliable. Otherwise, you're just like gonna fucking, you know, break down in the middle of the road or run out of gas. Like, take care of your shit.
And also, like, you do end up putting more maintenance into things when you don't need, or you stop putting it in when you need it the most.
Yeah.
And then it creates problems.
Yeah.
And then those problems teach you, fuck, I should be putting in maintenance.
Things aren't just like fucking like as easy.
That's why I like
cruising.
I do think that is the thing that happens in a relationship. Like, we're cruising.
Yeah.
But we weren't. But the reason we weren't was because we were already doing good.
Yeah, we were doing so well that we got lazy.
It's like Good Times Create Weak Men.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah. Say it.
Okay, so yeah. It works in everything. So it's like, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times.
Yeah.
And then it's a
Hard
cycle.
times create strong men. Strong men. Yeah.
And obviously I'm being very gender specific, and I excluded they
Humans.
them. But yes, but so in a relationship, like a hard time in a relationship will create activities. You're like, hey, we need to work on this.
Yeah.
So then now we both work on it. So now we become strong as relationship partners. And then the partners that become strong then create a really good relationship. Yeah. But then that really good relationship creates a weaker version of self, because unless we're very conscious, that's why like intentionality is one of the things that I really speak to.
This is like when you're just like practice training, like if you're gonna be like a warrior, you're like, just because there's no war right now doesn't mean I'm not fucking in the
like for relationships. Like I think I know that I am guilty of offending this, but I had realized this with Taylor or maybe Maggie, but you have to be intentional with a relationship.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to be long term. Like if you're going to date 20 years, I mean, we're only 3.
Yeah.
And how many lulls have we, like, you go through a lull, and the only reason you go through a lull is because you start to not be intentional. You get comfortable. You go like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not going to do the thing that I'm supposed to. I'm not going to put in the extra effort. I'm going to, like, all of these things. It's not even conscious. It's unconscious. You slip into a behavior.
That's why I don't want to ever live with like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, because I'm just like, I know how I am socially, and I'll just default to like what they're doing. I won't try to like make time for them, because I'm just like, oh, I'll always see you. And it's like, oh no, I need to, like, even like with really good friends, that's happened. We're just like, oh, I need to try to hang out with you. You're gonna be there eventually.
Yeah.
But and so I like want to be like, oh no, we're fucking kicking it. And that is, I think that every time that we've experienced that, we were just like, let's just say it. It's been really easy, and then it's just like been instant, recognition and.
Yeah, well, like, calling your lulls out is part of the recognition of, hey, I think we're getting a little comfortable right now.
Yeah.
Like I noticed we haven't had sex in a week. Like those are conversations that we have, and they're like, fuck, dude, we haven't fucked in a week.
Yeah, and feeling like comfortable enough just to say that, because I've been in a lot of situations where I'm just like, dude, you want to say this? Like, you haven't even, like, in my head, I'm just like, we haven't even, and I just get more angry about it. I'm just like, and then instead of just being like, I feel like you used to appreciate me more and fuck me better. And then, like, not that I don't think they always appreciate me and fuck me real good, but there are times when we just, like, are stressed out individually.
Dude, it lulls.
Yeah. I think that most of the time lulls in any relationship is because people are personally going through something, and so you have to hold a little space, like, all right, they're stressed, they're depressed, they're, whatever. And then, but trying to make the magic happen.
I remember I was talking to Nolan, shout out Nolan, the therapist that I had. Yeah. And I was talking to him about how I disliked that, I think it was Taylor. It's like, dude, she never comes on to me. And I was like, fuck, dude, I feel like our sex life is suffering. And she's like, well, when's the last time we had sex? And then I was like salty about it because we haven't had sex in 2 weeks.
Just shout it out, like, I was like, well, fucking days.
She hasn't come on to me at all. And he was like, well, have you told her how you felt? And I was like,
yeah.
No. Like, it was just so funny. Like it's the simplest question. The communication question. And I'm like, and she doesn't do this, and I'm so upset. And he's like, well, have you asked her? And I was like,
there was something about your dad when you
were I am not.
During like a date night when we were super fucked up, and you were like, I just feel like these things are must. I'm like, have you just like said it?
Have you talked to him about it?
Oh shit! Like,
it's so, like, it is crazy how it's like a light bulb moment. You're like, well, no, obviously would not tell her because she's supposed to know.
Yeah, just like how dare they not pick up on my fucking signs?
Yeah, how dare they not understand that I'm saying this from my brain into the ether and you're not picking up on it? What the fuck?
I have a rule that like once, something like rattles around in my head like twice, and not like twice in the same like section of time, but like two different like significant moments. Then I will voice it. I'm just like, and like this is silly, but I'm thinking about this. I'm like, I'd rather have confirmation and not wonder. Just like, oh, I wonder what he's thinking about. Bitch, shut up. Wonder what are you thinking about? What he is stupid. That's dumb. Just ask him. You should know or not care. That's shit's dumb.
Okay, so also to that, which I love about you, I think you and I are like on extreme different sides of the what do you call that? Like the pendulum. So you would voice what you feel.
I don't think we're both extremes.
Well, I would say I'm more on one side and you're on the other.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more like middle. I know what you're going to say, but I think anyways.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're more like resting and there's like these.
That's fair. Count. Okay, so if we're like at a 60-40, there's still like 100 and 0.
Yeah, we're at like a.
That's fair.
60
okay.
Or 35 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But what I think this is actually really good because I think that a lot of times for me, I need to voice what I'm feeling more, and I don't. And I sit on it and I think, why doesn't she just understand the way I think? And when I say she, I mean you, but I also mean in every relationship I've ever been in. Like,
or the general you, even friendships, for sure.
Well, and also other people deal with the same struggles that I'm dealing with as far as communication. The proverbial you, So, but I'm like, why isn't she understanding how, like, why doesn't she recognize that I need this?
Yeah.
And the thing that we talked about the last time that we had a check-in was because you communicate so much. And then I was like, will you slow down your communication? And I also think that is true.
Yeah.
Like in relationships where like, if you communicate every single time, that might also be too much.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that it's too much all the time, but it might be sometimes. Like, because if you lean into, this is what I did when I wanted to think communication is the backbone of relationship. So communicate always. And then I started saying everything always. And then that like was a detriment because then I was over communicating. So it's not just
a little bit
blurting out everything that you want.
I love that because I once you said that I was like for like almost all friendships, and like now that we've like gotten into like a comfortable like time period, then I started getting lazy about it. But anytime that I had any like just stress or fucking like issues, anything, I would just like journal as fuck. I'd be like, okay, identify your feelings. Go down to like the base rate of that. Is it, outside of you? Is it from within you? And then like would figure it out. And I stopped doing that because we're just like, I'm like, oh, he gets it. And you do, but sometimes I don't. And if I don't, then I like spout off too soon on what I'm feeling and thinking then. But I'm like, bitch, these are fucking fresh thoughts. You need time to like marinate on the situation and really be able to process everything and be able to figure out what you're really like, instead of the emotional reaction and the narrative being upsetting you, like address what is the reality,
No.
And so that was like, also, I think that, when criticism isn't as criticism, it's as help, then, it's like, then it just like, is better.
Yeah.
You do really well with that.
Constructive criticism. I learned it in music.
Yeah, but it's not just like, sandwich like a fucking minus with 2 pluses. Mm-hmm. But you're like, this is what I need. And also communicating well, like, this is how I need to be spoken to. That's also why I don't date like certain people after X amount of times. Like, we don't talk the same. And I'm not saying that theirs is bad or mine is better or whatever. But I'm like, shit, we don't talk well. It's never gonna work out.
Well, also like that, fuck, there was this one thing that Lindsay sent me. I talked to somebody else about it, but it's like the slightly wrong shoe size, where if you're a 9 and you get a 9.5, you start it's like fine. The shoe kind of fits, but it's not quite there. But it's fine, so you wear it, but then you start your toes
Get little
pull
blisters.
differently, and then like it goes the whole way up your back. Like it changes everything.
Yeah.
Just because of this minor difference that and so that's the same with like why relationships, I feel they tank after. Well, what I'm saying is like if you're starting to feel these little bit of isms, it's because you were making, like, it's kind of a cliche, but they say that like really good relationships shouldn't take an exponential amount of work. They should take work for sure. Like I don't think our relationship isn't work. It is work.
Yeah.
But like I don't feel like
it's hard work most of the time. I feel like we've had moments of hard work. And I've been in relationships
where like fighting every like day, or like
all my journals from a period of time were just like, this is what I'm gonna do to de-escalate.
Yeah, how am I fixing this thing? And that's the same with like a good friendship. Like that's why a good relationship would be a good friendship. It's like, dude, a good friendship isn't gonna take all work. 20% work and 80%. Yeah. Holy shit, that was good math.
I do know that like you're like the times when we've had issues, I will have more faith in us getting through it, like more now, because they're just like usually, dude, I freak out and I am like very, freak out. I'm just like not dystopian, but just like, the house is on fire, bail, kind of like instincts. But I do think that having the times under our belt of when we've like, been able to communicate better, and just like knowing like, all right, we're going to get through it. Like, how do we either sit with this miscommunication, or like, how can I be okay with feeling like I'm not completely understood? Because that's been the major times where I feel like I'm like, I get extra upset and I'm super reactive and, more combative and sensitive and just like all these things that I'm like, usually like, I don't have to think of not doing. I'm just not that way. It's usually when I'm like, oh, I feel like I've said this. And then he doesn't understand, because usually you get like, it's just pretty flowing and really easy. And then I'm just like, you don't get it. And like, maybe he does and you don't know that he does it, or maybe he doesn't, and that would be okay also. Just sit on it a little bit. So
yeah, I think that's like the general rule of relationship fights in general, is like, you don't get the way that I see this thing.
Yeah, that's like, and everything should be a win-win, where you're just like, I seek to understand. The more you understand something, the less you hate it. And so if you can just like really like get where anyone, the position of them for doing anything, then you're usually like, all right, yeah, I can see that. That tracks.
Let's wrap this up with a shot.
Yeah.
We got a photo shoot to do.
Yes.
Dude, next time you're on the podcast, you're gonna own a dog, and we're gonna plug the dog's podcast.
I'm gonna own a dog.
I was just about to ask you, even though I wasn't, but I was like, do you want to plug anything?
Yeah, I shout out Future Dog. I'll plug LDG. Shout out LDG.
Yeah.
I love working at you. It's the best. Little Dutch Garden, Waihee. First bar in Boise. The coolest spot.
Do you work there?
I do work there.
You're a bartender.
Yeah.
The listeners that have, they should
come to LDG. It's summertime. There are cornhole games, horseshoes, beer pong,
fire pits.
Yeah, fire pits. Pong. All the bartenders are super cute and amazing.
Dude, you're the second LDG bartender.
I know. Like sometimes I'm just like, hey, do you guys know who Morgan is? I'm like, my boyfriend did. Shout out Morgan. That's funny.
Yeah, when you first started working there, who did you ask? You asked someone, you're like, do you know Morgan? And they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh shit.
Because there was there's two Morgans that work there. There's like a that Morgan, and there's Morgan Mango, and so we're like, which one was she? And like the one girl that was shading me, she didn't really know the one that you dated like super
one.
well. But dude, pretty much
they do
all
all hot girls.
All the girls that like work there are super cute and just like funny and just you know when you're talking about like boys girls or girls, like they seem like
they're boys girls.
Like boys girls, but like
Morgan can keep up with like dudes. Yeah, same with you. Like you're like a dude's girl.
Yeah. I feel like there a lot of times people are like girls hate me or boys hate me or like I don't know, like I think it's more with girls, like girls hate me, and I hate that narrative even though sometimes I want to say it. I'm like, that's not true. It's just girls are very protective and they're very tribe oriented or family oriented, and so if like anyone that's not part of it is like fuck that bitch, and it's like that's okay, I love that you love your people. It's like my grandma. But just like she was awful to me and my brother growing up. But Katie would not have survived without her. Yeah, don't put this on the internet.
Salud.
Yeah, she was a great grandma too to the other ones.
Cheers, dude. Hat trick.
Yeah.
That means 3 times the charm.
Can it be any 3 things? As long as it happens to like 3 lucky things, 3 specific, like, you know.
I mean, I think that the terminology can be morphed, but I learned hat trick by 3 goals in a game.
Okay.
So 3, it's in soccer. You score 3 goals.
In a row, like, couldn't it, like, 3 by you personally the entire game, or 3 like 1, 2, 3?
No,
not
personally like, in a game.
Okay,
not like 3 goals, one game
Bob,
after another.
James, David, Bob. No, and Bob would still have a hat trick.
James needs to score 3.
Okay, but
then
in a row.
Hat trick for him.
In a row or at all?
Well, in soccer, you're not going to score.
Soccer's low scoring.
Right, exactly. So I'm not sure about basketball. Like you can't say I hit 3 shots in a row each time. That's not a hat trick. But I use hat trick as if I fuck 3 girls in a day, that's a hat trick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it probably is more of like a personal definition at this point. I learned it in soccer, but all right, let's wrap this up. I gotta pee.
Yeah, I don't think that I would want to fuck multiple, maybe girls. I'd fuck multiple chicks.
I mean, if you hire 3 hookers, you're gonna fuck them all on the same day.
Yeah, but that's like 3 in 1.
Yeah, that's a hat trick. High five.
It's gonna happen.
Nobody.